Welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players Podcast, where we're going to go ahead and jump right in to the state of play reviews and everything else that's been going on in gaming. But first up, as per usual, we'll jump right into our intros and see what everybody's been playing. Weeb, how are you, man, and what have you been playing?
Hello. Better. Have been sick for the last couple of weeks, but hopefully recovered soon. But did give me a lot of time catching up with a lot of anime, TV shows, and a bit of gaming. I finished Ninja Gaiden 2 Black last week. Um, it sort of like picked up sort of at the halfway point where like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna finish it. It was yeah, okay. I'm not gonna say that I'm the biggest fan of the Ninja Gaiden series, but in terms of setting or story, but I do like the combat. Um, and it's pretty doable. So yeah, if you haven't played it, it's on Game Pass right now, or you can just buy it if you want to. Um, but yeah, so yeah, if you're a fan, I think it's definitely a step up from the original. Looks good. Like it doesn't look like a date game at all. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Um, Other than that, I've played a few games. I started also turned my Switch back on for a bit. Started Mario vs Donkey Kong, the Switch version, which is a nice change of pace for sort of like a puzzle game that you can play in between without really having paying attention to any story whatsoever. Um, also started Dead Space on PS5, or the remake, which I did start on Game Pass and then on PlayStation Plus, and then my subscription ran out, and I thought, why just buy it because I liked
Yeah,
it enough where I said like I just want to have this game because it. You can really see, they put in a lot of effort in the remake.
they
Looks
did.
great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was like,
Dismantling limbs on it and shit are really good too. It's
yep, yep.
very
Well,
vivid.
that's the way to play, right? Um, yeah. Also played the Like a Dragon Pirate Warrior demo. Uh, Short, but gives you an idea of the gameplay in terms of combat, which is a lot more frenetic than in previous games. Like it's of course action based, so it's not turn based like Seven and Infinite Wealth, but it's also a bit more almost like a character action game compared to previous Yakuza games because it uh, allows you to jump, which is a very small change, but makes all the difference because you can now jump in the air, juggle enemies, attack from the air. Or you can very easily dodge. There's a lot of um, options you have. You have two fighting styles. The Mad Dog, so it's traditional fighting style, which is also a combination of multiple because like your normal attacks are just punches, and if you use heavy attacks, you switch to your knife, and completely changes your combo set. Plus, you have these crazy attacks where you can either create duplicates of yourself or summon some crazy, in this case only sharks, but I know from the trails you have other summons as well. Um, so yeah, it was pretty fun to experience the fighting style. In the second part, you go to Atlantis, where you have a short demo of the ship combat, which also was pretty fun. It's very familiar if you played Black Flag or any of the other Assassin's Creed games with ship combat. but of course on steroids because you can use crazy weapons. You have a lot more options to engage. You basically just have to damage an enemy ship, bring their health down until you can board them, and then you have the basically traditional fighting part, but also with support of your non-combat characters. And your goal is to defeat the enemy captain to conquer or defeat that ship. So yeah, that was pretty fun. Recommend checking it out. It's not that long and gives you a good impression of the gameplay. Um, Also tried out another demo with Turbo Overkill, which was pretty fun. It's sort of a it's first person shooter, but sort of slightly pixel arty. But yeah, it was kind of fun. I had a nice gaming where you have chainsaw legs, so you're encouraged to slide and defeat enemies by just chainsawing into them, which was surprisingly fun. Like played for an hour, it's like 3 levels in the demo. So I did put it on my wish list. See when it's on discount, I will probably get this. And there was one other demo on Steam, but I forgot the name. The Aethermancer. Yeah, check
Okay.
that out. Yeah, it was also pretty fun. Like I'll definitely keep an eye on that one. Turn-based RPG. I think it is roguelike because you do have different choices to go down like one or two or three path, and it does seem like there's a lot of layers to it. So the demo doesn't really it explains, but it doesn't necessarily give you enough time to explore everything. Because you have summons that fight for you, and you can collect new ones at certain points in the game, which either are for free or you have to use a certain item that you collect while defeating enemies. And you have to make choices. Like sometimes, the game asks you to sacrifice one for a boon, or if you want to, you have to replace existing monsters, and they got level up and have their own vulnerabilities and strength. But I really like the art style. The designs of the monsters look pretty good. So yeah, I'll keep it. It's a demo, but I'll keep it in mind when I think the full. I'm not sure where the full game comes out, but yeah, I was scratching that turn-based itch a bit. So yeah, that's it. I think. Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. It sounds like you've been on a healthy gaming grind, trying
Yep.
out quite a few new things, getting ready for the Yakuza, like I know you are. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I also tried Aethermancer as well. So that was that looked pretty slick, and I had to jump into it for a little bit. I did get a taste of it, and I know what you mean. Where it's like they give you just enough to just be like, all right, do you want to buy the game? But yeah, that turn based itch was definitely scratched by that game, and they did a pretty good job. I wasn't expecting much. It wasn't on my radar at all. Um, but yeah, just seeing the demo popped up, I did give that a try as well, and it was
What's the
pretty
name
fun.
of the game? I couldn't catch that.
Aethermancer. I'll just put it in chat later because you're probably not going to be able to spell it. It's kind of weird.
On
But
PlayStation?
no,
Nope.
it's on
Okay,
Steam.
Steam.
gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, like I said, that's what's up. That's a healthy set of gaming and stuff you got going on there. There's a lot coming. Um, I was looking through the release calendar for just the upcoming months, and it's like it only starts to calm down once you get to like June or July. But I doubt that'll be as calm as it looks. I think we're just missing some release dates from some other games and whatnot, and I'm sure that'll
Play
fill
in
up.
the summer gaming event and all that kind of shit, and then
Exactly.
yeah.
Yep. Speaking.
Remember, rumor is Nintendo is holding a showcase, so they're gonna show some stuff as well.
April
You
too,
never know.
so yeah, there'll be lots. Yeah.
Yeah, all their stuff is basically held close to the chest right now, given they haven't done their April event. So it's like, honestly, man, pace yourself is all I can say right now, man. Like gaming is on a smorgasbord. So if you gaming like we gaming, then you got a lot on your plate potentially. So, but yeah, Nelson, heard you jump in real quick there. What have you been playing, sir? If you've had any time to get something in, what's been on your palate?
Helldivers, Banishers. I'm so many hours into this game.
Okay.
I'm trying to do everything. It's getting to be a very Ubisoft game. There's a lot of side shit, and a lot of
Ah,
times it takes me hours and hours to find what I'm looking for because it's like, can I take this path? Can I take this path? Can I take this path? And I keep running into walls, but I still keep going. I'll finish it. Hopefully, finish that by the end of the month because I'm going to be gone a lot this month. There's a lot of wrestling going on, end of season stuff. Last time to watch my cousin because I'm not driving 7 hours to go watch him in college probably very often. So
okay. That's what's up.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
me and Nelson, we played Helldiver a bit.
Okay.
oh yeah, I try to get on during the week too when I can, but I had like a choir concert I had to go to. Like being a parent's a son of a bitch.
It'd be
I
like
got up,
that.
I got up and was like, oh, I'm gonna play some Helldiver. And then my wife's like, oh, Marcus has a choir concert. I'm like, why didn't I know about this till now? And she's like, I didn't know about it till yesterday. And I'm like, all right, never mind.
Nah, man, you stay busy as a parent. So, I
Yeah, you
mean,
do. It don't stop.
yeah, honestly, I'm trying to find the time and I have no kids. So, yeah, trying to find the time with kids is a whole nother story. But yeah, that's what's up. I still need to get further into Banishers as well. So, again, another good game that honestly came out over a year ago. That, like, if it tells you anything about how many games that we're all trying to get through and play. Um,
There is actually a free trial for it on PlayStation 5.
I own the game,
So,
so I don't.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah. I mean, I don't. I mean, I figure if you haven't even attempted to get it by now, you're probably not interested. But yeah. But speaking of which, Omar, you chimed in. So, what have you been playing, sir?
what's up, everyone? Yeah, a lot, but at the same time, not. If that makes sense. So, first off, this is the one game that you called it, not called it wrong, but like you was wrong about it, which is High on Life. You told me I might not enjoy it, but I actually did. Not only did I enjoy it, I actually bought the DLC, which is called High on Life,
So,
which
so
is
wait. So let's get something straight. So I was right because what I said was that that game was trash, but the
it's
part I was
not.
wrong about is that you somehow, weirdly enough, liked it, which shouldn't surprise me because every time we had this discussion on the show, which if you guys haven't noticed is every time everybody likes something on the show that Omar hasn't played, he will find every nitpick on the planet to fight with us about it. But if we don't like it and he likes it, he'll just be like, "Oh, the game was wonderful. I loved it."
True, true.
Yep. Yep. Every single time. I'm starting to think we have to say we don't like something in order to get him to play it.
My kid was liking it because he likes all the cuss words.
see,
If
see,
people
that
don't
makes
like it,
sense.
It's like we need to start. We need to start trashing games that we want him to play because it's the only way that's going to get him to actually turn the game on and play it.
Yep, yep.
No,
So we should do.
I
Because
just love
we recommend him some games and we have to pull his teeth in order to get him to start playing it. But we trash a game. He's oh man, let me see what's wrong with this. Oh god, I gotta try it out.
Absolutely. No, but go ahead. I ain't gonna give you too much. The game was okay, right? Like I didn't hate it. It was okay, but
the gameplay is fine. Like it's passable. What
If it wasn't for
what
the
makes it
comedic stuff, it wouldn't be worth playing.
oh
what
yeah, I
make
agree,
it gel
100%.
what make it gel together? It's a banter between the guns. I've always loved guns that talk. Think Borderlands.
So you heard it
Think
here first. So you heard it
Cyberpunk.
here
City.
first that Omar likes the same thing that Nelson's child likes. I mean, he said,
Omar's a very simple man. He doesn't take really much.
he
There's
said,
nothing wrong
"Ooh,
with that.
ooh, there's bad words."
I did enjoy the banter a lot.
I know you
Which
did.
Also, another thing which it does well, it's a boss fight. Like boss fights are entertaining. It's a mix between puzzle and basically making use of your guns. Every single gun has its own
Secondary.
special attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. I always enjoy boss battles where you gotta puzzle them. Other than that, I started the gunk and I dropped it. It it's boring. It became boring very quick. It became boring so quick that despite the interesting story that it have, I can't find myself ever playing that game. Another game I sadly dropped is uh, for now is Eternal Strand. I like the concept, like I'm a huge Shadow of the Colossus person, but when you spend half an hour looking for an enemy, a big enemy, and you can't find it because it teleported to a different area, and you don't have the ability to follow it, like you need to look up in every nook and cranny. I'm I just dropped it. It's frustrating because I really had high hope for it. Maybe later they will give you like some type of compass where you can find them quicker. Cause that's what I like about Shadow of the Colossus. When you hold down your sword, it shows you which direction you need to go with the light. That's the frustrating part. Other than that, it's a great game. I enjoyed the gameplay. Story is so far whatever, but yeah. And then I had a choice to make. Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, which I want to try out and see what the fuss is about. Yakuza 4, because I really want to play the new type Yakuza, like the man with no name and
Like a
Yakuza
dragon.
7, which, yeah, like I have had Yakuza 7 like for how many years now? And I've yet to touch that. Also, there is Yakuza Ishin, another game I want to play. But I made it my mission to play all the Yakuza games beforehand, so I started 4. And directly, you're confronted with just how amazing Sega is when it comes to storytelling with the Yakuza games. As always, a new character, never heard of him, and I already love him. Another one, never heard of him, I already love him. And another one, never heard of him, I already hate him. It's it's classic, classic Sega. Other than that, I signed up for the closed beta for Sonic Racer.
Oh, I didn't even know there
Ra-
was one for that.
there was. They said it at the show. And I'm curious if we're gonna get in or not. And lastly, and this hurt to say, because I was excited about that. I even downloaded twice. That's how I excited about that. Basically, I tried the Monster Hunter beta, and I just suck at Monster Hunter. It's just something that I need to accept at this point in time. Uh,
I mean,
Another
I'm gonna
beta,
tell you part of your problem with Monster Hunter though, and I get that, but you'll
Grind
never
on that
get
though.
yeah, you'll never really get really good at Monster Hunter solo because part of what makes Monster Hunter so great is working well together as a team. So if you
yeah, I
don't
don't.
really get that experience, then it's never gonna like fully click. So yeah,
It's not
I get
only
that.
it's not only that. It's like the story is cool and all. The gameplay is amazing. Like it's not gonna take away anything from the gameplay, but it how they literally do you one single main mission and then throw you into the deep.
Yeah, they do.
Like they learned nothing from the previous demo, from the previous game. Like same thing, and that's what frustrates me. And because they give you so many gadgets, but you don't know what you need to do with them. You don't know how anything works. And there is a training area, but it's not enough in the sense of there are combos that not even mentioned in the training. And that what frustrates me. Like I wanna get into Monster Hunter, but it's not a new friendly. It's just not. It's not for new players. It's that's the frustrating part because I really love. I tried most of the weapons even, and some of them clicked. Like for example, the rogue one. Yeah, right, the cool and all. And another thing, and it baffled me. Whose idea was it to have main attack to be either triangle or circle? Why the fuck can't I button change the button to square? Like that's mind-boggling. That's the frustrating part, the biggest out of it. Here, like, get this. This is the crazy part. You can button swap on PlayStation 5 for your fucking keyboard, but you can't for your own controller. Like, I'm genuinely baffled by that decision.
Yeah, I get that.
Um,
I mean, I have the Pro controller, or the Edge controller, so I don't have that issue.
oh
But
yeah, you can button revamp. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like I yeah I'm gonna move on because
I
otherwise
get
I'm
it. You
gonna
want to be into it. You want to play it, but it's just not
I
clicking.
want to be into it. It's just it's not for me sadly, which I have to accept and just move on. Luckily, I have Yakuza 4 and then 5 and then 6 and then I need to try what you call it on Aminucha Remaster 1.
Yeah, see, plenty for you out
Lots
there,
of gaming.
regardless of that game not clicking.
Yeah, lots of gaming. I'm not gonna fuss about small things like life is too short to focus on step back like that.
There you
And
go.
this game, Annihilation, can't wait for it, but we're gonna talk about the showcase. That's it
We
for
are
me.
indeed. All right, and in a different order, and last but not least, Morgan, how are you, and what have you been playing, ma'am? Even though I definitely know the answer to that.
So, Omar, you just not gonna talk about how you finished Cowboy Bebop?
Oh.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do the prayer,
Oh,
but yeah. I
oh,
finished.
no. This man mentions every other anime
He
every
does
week,
mention every other
and
anime. You
now
not
all
wrong.
of a
Talk
sudden,
about anime. So, okay, so
Omar, you mention anime every
I
single week,
finished,
sir.
I finished Cowboy Bebop. It's,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's, how do I say this? It started
Mm-hmm.
good, the midsection is okay, and the end, they nailed it. Like, the end literally explain why the show is how it is. My
Oh
biggest
man.
issue,
So you need to. So
basically,
what you're saying is you needed to
basically,
finish it, like we told you.
basically, Spike was never that serious, and I always uh, was irritated about that because of that situation. And then at the end, very end, they explained it why. And not gonna lie, one of the best moments in anime history, in my opinion.
Oh wow. Okay. So like we said. All right. Next time, Omar, listen when we recommend you something. All right.
All facts.
All
Did
right.
I not
So
listen and beat Metal Gear Solid 1?
you said what?
Did I not listen and finish Metal
Omar, are
Gear?
you trying to use one example of the many
No,
times we
but
tell you to
I
do
do.
something and
Like when you
and
guys
it takes
like
you forever?
I no, I trust your judgment. When you guys recommend something, I will absolutely play it because I know
Mm-hmm.
you're.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How long did it take you to watch these 26 episodes, Omar?
Which one?
Which one has 26 episodes?
I didn't hear what you said, but
She said, "How
okay.
long? How
I
long did
think
it
you
take
meant
you?"
yeah, Cowboy Bebop. No,
Uh-huh.
it took me a while.
Yeah, a while.
Plus,
That's about like 3 or
I
4 weeks it took
literally,
Yeah,
him.
it's like
Yeah.
4 weeks.
I literally, I literally was using it the same way I was watching Power Rangers.
Yeah. But you
One
finished Dan to
episode.
Dan in a week though. But okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Move on.
All right, yeah. Let's move on because it's another L for Omar. Um, for me, I've been playing nothing but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Um, honestly, it's to the point where it's just like I
Goatee?
am just itching to play it. Like when I'm not playing it, I'm just like, first of all, I've been said it was GOAT, sir.
You did.
But yeah, I'm like 55 hours in and I'm still on like the first map. There's like two maps. So essentially it's 2 times bigger than the first game. Like the first map is essentially the same size as the first game. And then there's the second, which is like the first introductory area. And then there's like the second map with like the bigger city and everything. And I'm not even there yet. I'm still in like the first area. Essentially I've just been like, you know, leveling up, doing all like the side missions, like trying to get my armor up and my weapons and everything like that, and playing all of the little side activities and everything. And it's just so much because it's like you just run into random missions just while you're doing a side mission. I've been deviating off the path so much because it's like, okay, I'm about to go do this mission, help this guy, and then I'm riding my horse on the road, then I see somebody else on the side of the road and they're doing something weird. So I stop and ask them what they're doing. And then I get pulled into something else where somebody else needs help. And then I go help them. And then they're like, okay, but in order to get this piece of armor, you have to do this other thing for me. So I have to go over here and do this. And it's just like, a plethora of things to do. I've essentially also been, trying to build up my money, the groschen in the game. And an easy way to do that is alchemy, where you have to literally brew your own potions. And, all the potions from like your health to potions that raise your strength, or potions that that you can make to save the game, because that's how you save in this game. You have to use a potion. Potions that raise your charisma, or like poisons, or like potions that increase your nourishment. So it's like if you're hungry and stuff like that. And based on how well you brew the potions, depends that determines how many you get and how much you can sell it for. So if you're really good at alchemy, you can sell it for, to the alchemist in the town for like a pretty penny. So that's what I've been doing. I just been gathering herbs, making potions, and then selling it to the alchemist to get like some money before I go to the next map. Like I want to have my money straight before I take, all like the bigger city. So I've just been like doing that. And the great thing about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is that essentially all of the mechanics like feed into themselves. So the more you do alchemy, the better you get at alchemy. And the more you can like occur perk points to like increase the certain skills in your alchemy. So I'm like level like 30 now in alchemy. And I use the perk points that I get from alchemy to like use in the alchemy tree, which like one skill, for example, that I have is if I brewing potions increases my energy so I don't get tired, and increases my nourishment so I don't get hungry. So that way I can like brew essentially all day if I want to without my character getting tired or hungry.
I see
So it's
you
like,
breaking the system.
Yeah, exactly. So when I can do that, so basically I can, because in the game, your character gets tired, they get hungry, they get dirty, you have to keep up their stats, right? So because I do alchemy so much and I put those points back in alchemy, I can basically do it all day and get perks for doing alchemy. So that's the great thing about the game. Like you do certain things, it feeds into that thing that you do. So it's like I'm also good at combat, like, and there's different types of combat. There's like unarmed combat where you're like, you fist fight people, and the more you do unarmed combat, the better you get, and you can get perk points for unarmed combat. So like, you get I got a perk where if I fight an enemy unarmed, if they have a weapon, it increases my strength by like 30% so that I could handle that fight unarmed. Um and there's, obviously there's sword combat, there's like lance combat, there's arrow, crossbow combat. There's different types that you can, and the more you do that certain skill, the better you get at it, right? It's one of those type of games. So there's also blacksmithing in the game, which is a great feature because in the first game Henry is a blacksmith, but you never actually get to blacksmith. That's what he was raised. He was a blacksmith's son. Um, so you literally will blacksmith. So you take a piece of metal, you put it in the fire. You're blowing the fire to make it hotter. You have to actually watch the steel and wait for it to get like yellow hot. And once it reaches that color, you take it out and you put it on the anvil. You get your hammer and you literally shape the weapon by hitting it with the hammer. And you have to hit it at the right cadence, right, to make sure that you're shaping it and forming it. And every weapon is different. So if you're forming a sword, it'll be a long piece. If you're forming an axe, it'll be the shape of like a little square that you form into an axe. If it's a horseshoe, which we do make, you can make your own horseshoes for your horse. It'll be in the shape of a horseshoe, so you have to hammer it into the shape. And it's very detailed, right? And you can mess it up, and if you do mess it up, it won't turn out right. Like, and if you get it right, it'll be a high quality that you can either use yourself or you can sell it. So I really like the system. Like, it's very detail oriented, and it makes you like do these things and break it down. But once you get the hang of it, it's very rewarding, and it's very fulfilling. Like, I'll be doing alchemy sometimes in the game just to like chill and relax. Like, I'll just be brewing potions because that's another, like I said, and with alchemy, it's another intricate thing you're doing. You're putting the base, whether it's alcohol or water or wine, and then you're adding the specific amount of herbs, and you got to boil it, and then you got to distill it and then put it under fire and stuff like that, and get it right. That's when you get the correct amount of the potion. If you get it wrong, then it'll probably mess it up, and you'll lose the herbs that you just spent on that. So everything about this game is absolutely fantastic for a person like me. Like, if you like that type of thing, it'll be a great game for you. And the story itself is even better this time around. I thought the story for the first one, it was serviceable, and it was good, just wasn't like great. But the story for this one and the character performances of the two characters, Henry and Hans, are the performance that they're doing for these characters are absolutely fantastic. I've been enthralled by like just their tit for tat between the two characters. It's great. And like I said, I think I've only done about 4 of the main missions to like 30, 40 side missions. Like, it's been so side focused. I think I'm right at the point when I saved last night. Like, I'm basically wrapping up this first map, and I'm going to do the mission that kind of propels you to the second map. So I'm finally, after 55 hours, going to the second area, but
Sounds like
which I'm
55 hours well
excited
spent.
about. Yeah, I got my purse up, I got my armor up, got all the potions I think I need, so I think I'm good to go. I love the game. It's so far for me, it's like a 9.5 right now out of 10. Absolutely recommend if you have time. It's a big game, but it's definitely worth it in terms of like quality. So if you're looking for a Western RPG, that's got that detail orientation where you have to take care of your character and things like that, but it's worth the effort that you put in. You get what you put into it. Then I definitely recommend Come Deliverance too.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Of course you do.
Does m- does the game make you play? Not make you. Uh, teach you to play in a way you never played before. Like for example, the alchemy. Is that your play style, or is that
Wait,
something even new for you?
I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean?
Basically, when somebody, like for example, when I'm playing game, if I'm playing a Final Fantasy, my main focus is always a mage or a summoner.
Oh, you mean like is
Um,
that like a class or is
it's not
she?
it's not a
I
class.
say class, but like for example, smithing or alchemy. Would you
yeah.
invest in that normally in gaming?
I mean, normally in gaming, it's not as intricate as that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not actually physically making the potions and stuff like that yourself. Like I do it because it's fun. Like like I like smithing and I like the alchemy. I
They made it
haven't
worth it to invest
yeah,
in it.
Fun is also rewarding.
yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Your Henry is definitely your Henry, which is a way
Oh yeah.
we've definitely
And the
explained that.
combat, fantastic. Combat you're gonna have to focus on. It's parry, it's very parry oriented, very tight window. You know, there's like a symbol that pops up in the middle of the screen when you can parry, and it's very small. You have to catch it, but when you get it down, it's fantastic. It's going to be hard when it's great on when it's one on one. You know, it's nice and easy, and you can focus. But when it's like 7 of you or 7 of them against you, you have to really focus. You can't hit somebody like in like because they'll try to circle you, so you can't hit the person in the middle because then obviously they'll all crowd around you. You have to kind of stay on the edge and keep because it's very slow, methodic. It's like medieval times, kind of. You're sitting there with your knight armor on and your sword or your mace or whatever, and you're slowly swinging at them, and they're all charging at you. There's no waiting. They don't wait like in other AAA games where you're hitting somebody and they'll wait their turn. No, they're all coming at you. So you have to pay attention. You have to slowly, methodically get them. And the thing about this game is you have to hit their points of weakness. So if somebody has a sword in their right hand, where their weak will be their left side. So you have to aim for their left side so that you can hit the part where they're not guarding, right? And so you have to pay attention. You have to be on point. Like you can't look. It's not a button masher because you do have stamina, and you will run out of stamina if you just keep swinging. So you have to be patient and hit where they're not blocking. And a lot of them have armor deep shields, and you have to basically just hope you hit somewhere where they're not looking. And hitting a certain point will weaken that point. Like you can get them to bleed on their arm if you hit them on their arm. If you hit them on their head, you can get them to bleed out from their face. Hit them on the leg the same way. Like every part you see that you hit, like you'll see their armor being crushed because you hit them, on their chest with a mace, and so it'll crush in, and they'll talk about it. They're like, "Oh man, he got my chest," like and he'll be like, "I can't breathe," So it's really good. It's very rewarding, but like I said, 8 people versus you, it's hard. It's very very hard, and you have to take your time with it. But let me stop because I'm talking too much about it.
I
No,
mean,
I
you're
mean,
having fun. That's what
yeah,
that's about.
it's good to get it from somebody who's actually playing it, actually enjoying it, and someone who actually is deeply invested in it already. Because a lot of people who explain it is very surface level. You don't get a lot of the detail, which is why so many people are still lost about what's going on and what are you doing in this world and so on and so forth. So I think you did a really good job explaining it in detail, at least like you said, in the way
Hmm.
that your game is going and your
Yeah,
Henry is being
and I have my
crafted.
dog too, Mutt. Shout out to Mutt, best dog ever. You can level him up. There's a hound master skill tree. You
Name
can
him
level
Mutt.
him up. Yeah, his name is Mutt. Yeah. And yeah, you can level him up, and he can help against enemies too. So he'll like bite their leg
Nice.
and distract them so that they'll turn around. So especially if an enemy is very armor heavy, right? And they got their shield, and it's like you can't, you're trying to hit some point of weakness, but they're blocking everything. So you can like if you focus on the enemy, you press triangle to get Mutt to sick. There's a sick command, and he'll try to go around and get their leg, and obviously he'll turn around and try to get the dog off. So like you could hit him, from behind, and like that could be the thing that helps you get that final blow. So I love Mutt, but you have to be careful because enemies hit him too much. Obviously he'll get hurt and he'll run off. He'll start whining and run away because he's been hit and he's hurt. So you got to just play it right.
Can he
Just
die?
no, thank God, no. It's just he gets hurt too much, so he'll just kind of run away. You'll hear him whine and run off, and so he won't come back until like another, until the battle's over, or until like another 10 or 12 minutes,
Mm.
depending. But yeah,
Does it have stealth?
Yes, that's another thing. My Henry is very stealthy too. You can learn lock picking. You can learn pickpocketing because you can pickpocket in NPCs. They all have like coin purses that they walk around with. There's coin purse in the front and the back, and you can sneak up behind them. But the funny thing is, if they see you crouching, if you're walking around town and all of a sudden you get into crouch mode, people will point it out and say that's weird. Like, why are you doing that? Like,
They
they'll
come.
put
They
yeah,
actually
they'll
comment on
comment.
you. Okay,
Yeah,
that's the funny part.
yeah, they'll
Okay,
comment.
yeah.
They'll comment. They're like, "Why are you being weird?" Or if there's a button to whistle for your horse, and if you whistle in town, they'll be like, "Why are you whistling at me?" Like, it's like, I'm not whistling at you. I'm trying to call my horse. And it's like, if you
Interesting.
if
So
you
it have
don't
a lot of
bathe,
depth in
yeah,
it.
if you don't bathe, and if you stink, they'll comment on it, and they'll be like, "Oh God," like they'll be like, "What is that smell?" And then like sometimes merchants that you talk to don't want to deal with you because you smell so bad. They'll be like, okay, they'll tell
Ew.
you to leave. They're like, oh, you can't be in the shop. Like, you smell horrible.
Fuck!
Please
Like,
leave.
get the hell out of my
Yeah.
store.
Yeah. There's a point in the game in which very early, my character basically gets feces dropped on him. And the townspeople, before, this is like the beginning of the game where I don't really have anything, and they're commenting and they're like, oh my God, bro, like you cannot be, like every time I walk around somewhere, they're just telling me to leave. And essentially I have to find like a wash bin to kind of just wash myself off because they're commenting and they're saying I smell so bad. It's the same way if you come into town covered in blood, if you just beat a bunch of enemies, they'll comment on that and they'll be scared of you. They'll lock their shop up. They're like, oh no, like, why are you coming here drenched in blood? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
this feels more like a sim
yeah,
than an
it is.
actual,
It's very,
game.
very sim oriented because then it's like, if there's a body in the city dead, right, and the guards find it, right, and they'll look around the town trying to figure out who did it. And if you are covered in blood, you're gonna be like the first suspect. They're gonna, you can't talk your way out of that. They're gonna be like,
Even if you didn't kill him.
yeah, even if you didn't kill him, you still have to persuade him that blood isn't associated with that person. Like, oh, and if you fail the skill check, like I said, there's different punishments. You can be put in the stocks, you can be branded, which is like a little brand that they put a hot iron on your neck, and you'll have to walk around with that brand for like a week or two in game. And merchants won't want to deal with you because you're branded a thief or a murderer, and nobody wants to mess with you. So you can't, and it affects your character Henry, his charisma. His charisma is down because he's embarrassed by the fact that he's branded. And then if you do a crime too many times, you get hung, and then it's game over. Like, there's a whole cutscene where they'll put a noose around your neck and hang you, and then it's just game over. And then you have to start, I guess, the last place before you committed the crime. But there's a lot of intricacies that go into it. And the NPCs are so funny. Like, they'll break out into fights in town randomly, and I love watching it because it's so funny. They'll break out into fights because some dude looked at another dude's wife wrong or commented on her, and they'll start fighting. And the bailiff will just like sit there and just wait for them to finish so that he can put both of them in the stocks. It's hilarious. But yeah, there's so much that goes into Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's really good.
And I mean, like I said, what you explained gives a lot of people an idea of why a lot of people enjoy it. So I've heard a lot of people playing part one now because of obviously the praise of part two, and a lot of people are running into the things that you explained for the first time as well, where like you said, if you smell bad and all that other stuff, and a lot of people seem to be really enjoying that. But yeah, as for me, before we jump into our first topic, which is one of the reasons why I'm really glad that you have played Kingdom Come so much, because it is definitely about that. But as for what I've been playing, honestly, it hasn't been that much lately. I've been finishing the battle pass for Fortnite, honestly, randomly. It's a whole thing. So I've been finishing that up over the couple weeks, the last couple weeks here. Like I mentioned earlier, I also tried Aethermancer, the demo, which again was a lot of fun. Random indie stuff that like I just never see coming. Me and Morgan always talk about that at the beginning of the year when we're like, what are we gonna play this year? And we always laugh about, despite us having like a decent list of games we want to play, there's always a couple of games per year that tend to surprise you that show up and you're just like, oh my god, this is everything I wanted. So yeah, Aethermancer was definitely a really nice surprise. I did go back and play a little bit of Forza Horizon 5, which I've been playing for a long time since it came out. So just running through some of the new things that they've been doing there. The support for that game has been incredible. And then the main thing that I started that I've been really pushing through, trying to really get it under my feet and really see how I want to play my character and so on and so forth, which is Avowed. I got the early access for it since I didn't want to wait till next week. Rather get it now on a nice Friday and really jump into it. I like the way it started so far. I do definitely find, for anyone who's wondering about the first person and third person kind of thing, it's definitely got that kind of janky third person thing going where it's clearly made for first person, but even though third person is an option, it's like not really. It's just there kind of, which is not a surprise to me. Like I've played these types of games, stuff like Bethesda and so forth. The third person is always just there just because. But so far, I like the character dialogue and stuff has been pretty all right so far. I'm a big fan of some of the voice actors that are in here. Anybody who's familiar with Mass Effect will recognize the voice actor for Garrus Vakarian from Mass Effect. He actually shows up really, really early on, basically right as soon as you get to one of the first cities. Background stories and so on and so forth seem pretty interesting for a lot of the characters. There's quite a few dialogue options, even for characters that are only there for the moment, so on and so forth. I do like some of the environmental interaction that goes on. It's very, very standard, RPG. Hit this thing, which catches on fire, which then burns this thing. But again, it's a lot of fun. It gives you a lot of versatile ways to deal with it. Obviously, if you're a mage and you have a fire spell, you could just burn it outright. Stealth is kind of a weird thing, which a lot of people didn't mention, because you can kind of get noticed very easily within an area. So stealth is almost like a non-starter in this game, which is kind of weird, because stealth is usually really a big thing in especially WRPGs or RPGs like this. So I'm not sure if that can evolve any better than what it is thus far, but it definitely seems like an oversight on their side to kind of make you noticeable if you kill somebody and then like no one really saw what happened, but like they all get suspicious regardless. But again, like overall, I'm enjoying my first bit of experiences with it. We didn't do like a main impression of it or anything because honestly, I'm not super far. But like I said, what I have played, I'm enjoying. One thing that is for certain, graphically, me playing on PC maxed out, the game looks insanely good. The art direction and stuff looks really good. I don't know what they were playing on or what they were doing prior when they were showing some of that footage early on that just didn't look all that good, but the game looks incredible, especially at night. The starry sky and everything being illuminated by flames, and just everything just looks so good. So I'm definitely excited to play some more of that. But yeah, that's definitely the main thing that I've been playing right now. And then Salazar came in the chat and mentioned Chained Echoes, which I definitely need to get back to because I started that not too long ago, and that's been a lot of fun as well. But yeah, on to the first topic that we're going to cover here, because of course we missed last week. So one of the major things that happened is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 launching, and not only launching, but it sold over 1 million copies in 24 hours. And the big thing about that, big congratulations to them, on the success of this game, coming off the backs of the first game selling over 8 million copies. The team put in a lot of work and it really shows. A lot of people are receptive to that, and the game did, started off with phenomenal sales. But one of the big takeaways from that and the success of this game, and obviously the scores, being 80 to 90s all over the place, high 80s, low 90s, and the amount of people who are just digging the detail and all these things that they've been able to put into this game, making it a very massive game, right? Um, it was reported that the game was somewhere between 40 and 60 million to make. And the thing that I take away from that, obviously, besides the just general success from this, is that this game is massive, right? Morgan set this up perfectly, unknowingly. Uh, but all the detail and all the things that she was able to jump into, the side quests, the alchemy, the detail and the forging, and all these things and these intricacies, the way the NPCs react, all these things were able to be put into this game at such a detailed level, with amazing fidelity and crazy optimization, right? This game runs insanely well for what it looks like. You don't need
Yeah.
a 4090 and all this other craziness to run it. It doesn't have all these extra RTX turn on everything. You don't get stuck with the RTX on, ray tracing on, and all these other things that we dealt with in the past. Again, Morgan knows about that firsthand, playing the I want to say that the Star Wars game, which I can't remember the name of it right now.
Outlaws.
No, not Outlaws, but the other one with their orange haired
Jedi
guy.
Survivor.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that was Survivor.
Yeah, Jedi Survivor 2. So everybody remembers the debacle with them creating it where RT couldn't be turned off and so on and so forth. And then, before that, we had the whole issue with RT basically being the entire lighting system in the last Battlefield. So if you turned it off, basically, everything just looked terrible because they didn't have a base lighting system. They just used ray tracing for the lighting system. So again, like you run into a bunch of, honestly, that's a very lazy way to do it, right? Like there's no basic baked in lighting system or even built in regular dynamic system on the background to support this stuff. So you get people who are, overly heavily dependent on a lot of this new tech and a lot of these new techniques, but they take so much to run them. So you're getting these crazy high, number one, you're getting these crazy high budgets, these ballooning budgets using all the latest tech, but still having optimization issues. And then, you're running into all this stuff demanding so much of your system, people having insane, recommended requirements for even some of the most basic play for some of these games. I mean, the real question for me here is like, when you look into it, I think it brings into question, what's really going on with some of these companies where, like we said, the budgets are remarkably out of hand, but yet the quality of their games don't seem to match up. Obviously not applying to games like Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us, GTA, games where you can see the result of the budget, right? Like the game's animation quality, visual fidelity, and detail orientation that they've been able to achieve. But it's like, what's stopping some of these companies from achieving the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 effect? 40 to 60 million, creating this incredibly detailed game, not relying on all this craziness to run it. So you're getting, for some people who are more PC oriented, what you get is called pure rasterization performance, meaning just your pure graphics card. Like you don't need ray tracing cores and all this other nonsense, which is honestly the best way to create games. And it requires a lot less to run it. But, I said, like, what's really, what do we feel like is stopping some of these people from doing this?
Do we know about the budget?
I just said the budget. I said it was between 40 to 60 million.
Oh, I understood that Kingdom Come is part of 60
No,
million.
Kingdom
Okay.
Come Deliverance 2 was 40 to 60 million. Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 was like on a $1 million budget. Like it was
What?
it was like super indie and it was like crowdfunded. Yeah, part
So
one was on a much smaller budget.
I think so. Is it fair to compare Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 with About?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean that you can compare them in like how they differ or how they are, similarities in both their WRPGs, but they have a very different focus.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
there's some difference. Yeah.
congrats to Innate for playing the second best WRPG of the
Uh,
year.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. I know it's your favorite. I know it's your favorite, ma'am.
hmm hmm
But yeah, I'm giving them all the kudos right now. They killed it. Warhorse
Yeah,
Studios knocked it out the park.
yeah.
Um,
I think
but
the big
yeah,
thing with like Jedi Survivor specifically, I think that was like an EA problem. Like EA once again doing EA
Their
things and like
quarterly earnings and all that. They did
exactly.
that game in like 3.5 years, and that's a
Yes,
big ass
exactly.
motherfucking game. And they just like throw that shit out because we need it to be out before the end of the quarter.
Yeah, yeah, it was rushed. I think, EA wanted like Nelson said, they wanted it done and they wanted it done by a certain time to meet their quarterlies. And I think just Respawn was just kind of like, ah, fuck, kind of hands up. Like, I guess, this is it, which is why it needed so much patching after it was released. We remember like the 60 FPS port or 60 FPS mode was not good on consoles. The lighting
hmm
was terrible. Like that's that certain scene or a certain section of the game where you had to like walk through or like the river part, like where the frame rate just like dropped essentially down to like the 30s or 40s. Like I don't need to rehash, but you remember it was just not a stable game at launch, even on PC, right? Even with the best graphics cards or whatever, it still was not a stable game. Because I definitely remember people with like 4090s and good builds. Like, this game, it's like it's hot. It's running my CPU crazy. Like, and the
hmm
frames are just all over the place. Like, I remember all the negative feedback. You know, sad. Like it's in a better like a better state now, but obviously we're past that game. So hopefully, whatever the next Jedi game is, EA gives them time. Or no, EA, they haven't learned a thing, so they'll probably rush them through this third game too.
yeah,
But I think that was the problem. Ballooned budget and a rush on time. And the thing about, I think that's one of the good things about Warhorse Studios, specifically. Not going to rehash more about the game. I've talked more about that, but the fact that they are an independent studio and they can essentially, take their time and, get the game how they want it, right? Like the first one came out in 2013. No, wait. Yes, no, I'm lying. No, 2018. I'm sorry. I don't know why I went back that far. 2018. That's when it came out. So this game right now is what, 7 years in development. And this is essentially, especially according to the director, this is what they wanted the game to be, right? This is Kingdom Come to its like fruition, because with the first game, they had to get crowdfunded, and I think they had like a I think they gained like $1 million or something like that. It was a crazy low budget for the first game.
yeah,
Um and while it was it was great and it was fun and the mechanics were cool, it didn't have like the best graphics and everything like that, especially at a time where it's coming out the same year as something like a Red Dead 2, right? Where it's also like an open world and the NPCs and everything like that are very interactive. You compare the two and you're just like, wait, this came out the same year, you know? But you're comparing like a rock star to, a smaller.
250 million versus one.
Exactly. Exactly. Where they also spend a long amount of time on it, but they also have the bigger budget and more employees and obviously more experience and stuff like that. So it's
hmm
like, with this game, the fact that they were able to sell 8 million for the first game, which is already a feat in itself, you're right, for a small studio like that. And they used that funding that they got from the first and put it into the second. So they had a way bigger budget of like I think it was like 40 to 60 million. I can't remember the specific number, but obviously way bigger than the first one. And then they were able to get the game how they wanted. And like Nate said, it made me when I heard, the news before it came out, how much they spent on this game and how impressive it was looking, it made me kind of scratch my head and be like, you know, maybe game companies really don't need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on games for it to be well, I mean, we know that, but not for it just to be successful, but for it to be, graphically, pleasing, and for it to be, big open world. I mean, it's double the size of the first game. Like I said, I'm 55 hours in, and I still have a whole other map to explore in this game. And for it to be as intricate and detail oriented as it is, and have so many mechanics that work within itself in this game, there's just so much that this game offers. And the fact that they were able to do all of that in a budget of less than 100 million is honestly impressive. And like it just makes me think that a lot of these companies have like just ballooned budgets to infinity just because they think that's what's required for AAA games. But I think Sony in particular are kind of in a rut, or kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, because they're at the point where every time they release a AAA game, people are expecting it to be bigger, better, more graphically, inclined than the last, right? And if they're not, I mean, we see how people comment when they feel like a game hasn't progressed, right? But people were complaining about Ragnarok, saying, it looked the same as 2018. It didn't do anything. Like it looks like it's still on PS4, blah, 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 right? People were complaining, and upset because of that, right? And it's just like, that's what I'm saying. It's like Sony can't, like, it's like they win. It's like they're damned if they do, damned if they don't kind of situation. Because while we want them probably to spend, less money so that we have, they're able to profit more, right? And so that they can get this money so that they don't have to do these live service type games. So they don't have to necessarily put PC ports day and date, right? So they don't have to do these extreme measures of remasters and remakes to garner more profit. I think that the fallback from, if they, I don't know, all of a sudden had Naughty Dog, instead of their game being like 300 million, it was like 100 million. I think the pushback from the gaming community would be so hard. Like if it didn't look like Intergalactic, right? Or Interstellar, right?
No, Intergalactic. You said it right.
Yeah, Intergalactic. Okay, sorry. I don't know what, my mind's going somewhere else. But
it was $330 million, and people were bitching that was too short. They should spend $500 million.
Imagine if they gave
like,
Naughty
what?
Dog a similar budget to Kingdom Come Deliverance. I think they would deliver a phenomenal game, but I think graphically it wouldn't be on what people assume a Naughty Dog game.
It'd be an entrance title.
And I think people would be so freaking pissed. They'd be like, this isn't Naughty Dog. This is the Naughty Dog I know. I'm not paying $70 for this. This is unreasonable. What is this? This isn't PS5. This isn't what I bought a PS5 for. It would be a whole issue, which is why I'm like, Sony is stuck. Like, even though I think you can make great games with smaller budgets, the people, the gamers, will like retaliate if they will like just go crazy if they tried to do something like this. But go ahead, Omar.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about is when they first revealed Rise of the Ronin, people were not impressed with its visuals, and at the price, and the game suffered at it. And it came down to people deciding what you care more about, visuals or gameplay. And people want to say gameplay, but what they really want to say is visuals.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Gamers all the time say gameplay is king. What they care about more is gameplay. You'll see other people too, from people who are PlayStation fans, comment on PlayStation games and say, if they put that budget more towards like the gameplay versus the graphics, these games would do so much better. People would love the game so much more. But the moment a game isn't a graphical showpiece, or they feel it hasn't done anything graphic, like I said, God of War Ragnarok, they people feel like it didn't go to the next step for God of War. What's the first thing they do? Bitch. And let's not act like the gameplay for Ragnarok wasn't like 9 times better than the gameplay for 2018, right? We had more weapons, more more diversity in weapon style and the way you fight and everything like that, right? Enemy type, all that stuff was increased, but the only thing
combos,
exactly, the only thing people focused on was it doesn't look like a graphical leap. So it's like, I need people to stop bullshitting when it comes to games, because you do care about graphics, right? You absolutely do, and you point it out every single time, right? The first time we see a trailer, and it doesn't look graphically pleasing, that's what everybody goes on Twitter to bitch about. Like, oh, people said the same thing about Yotai, right? Ghost of Yotai. Like, they were like, wait,
It looks the
hold up.
same. It's like
It looks the
CGI.
same. What's going on? Oh my God, where's the graphical leap? This isn't PS5. What is going on? It's just, that's why I'm like, y'all don't care about gameplay. Gameplay is secondary to graphics, and you can't tell me it isn't when you say stuff like that, when we haven't even seen gameplay for the game, or we haven't actually seen a gameplay breakdown of this game, and
That's
the first thing you focus on and cry about is the way it looked in like sections of a trailer. Like, it's just, I don't know. Gamers are fickle, but they complain about things that that are opportunistic at the time, right? So if the graphics look really good, they'll complain that they haven't seen gameplay, right? Well, what's the gameplay look like? If the gameplay looks good but the graphics aren't there, they'll be like, oh God, where are the graphics though? Oh my God, this isn't cool gameplay and everything, but this looks like a PS3, this looks like a PS4,
You're
So it's
literally reminding me with Rise of the Ronin.
yeah.
They literally called it a PS3 title. I'm like, but you are literally the one that asked for more freedom in gameplay.
Yep. Damn, that's why I said, damn if you do, damned if you don't, which is why I say
Yeah.
Sony's in
That's
a
a
hard
long ass game too. It's like $200 long.
yeah.
People
Rise of the
put
Ronin
that.
is
bitch.
fun as hell, man,
Yeah.
and I loved it, and I customized my character to to look like Blue Eyed Samurai, and I had a great freaking time with that game.
Yeah, your character did come out really well. Yeah,
The-
I think
the
my question is now though differently than that, right? Is I get them because I mean Hero said it in the chat, right? Like I don't specifically want Naughty Dog, right? Like you said, because I do think that would be bad, right? You don't want to bring a dev down a notch who is already operating at that level, right? You still need that, those top tier, no holes barred graphical showpieces that just do everything like to an unheard of degree, right? To this day, the dynamic combat and stuff in The Last of Us Part 2 is insane. But my question is, PlayStation is expanding, right? So and this is the one thing I wanted to make sure I got right, because I heard what one of the things that Hero said in the chat was like, he wouldn't want to buy like an ugly game or like a non-graphical game, and I'm like, okay, so wait, I wanted to clear it up. Just because it's 40 to 60 million, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 actually looks really good.
It looks so freaking good, man.
Yeah, like it doesn't look ugly.
It runs so well. It's such a it's so sad that in today's age,
a lot of that budget's probably where you live too. You know what I mean? Like the budgets.
Yeah, that's true. That too.
When you got to pay someone $35,000 a year versus they live in California, you got to pay a $250,000.
Yeah, that is definitely a big thing too. Personnel budget.
Personnel budget is insane, which is a big reason why I don't understand why, at least initially, right? Why
Sony has their studios in the most expensive place in the fucking world.
Yeah, it's not only just one of the most expensive places it's one of the most expensive places in California. So it's like, but then I look at it and it's like one of the teams that does the most work for them is Insomniac out of North Carolina. So yeah, so
I passed their building. I passed their building last week, and I was like, damn, I really want to go inside and be like, hey, can I get a sneak peek of Wolverine though? I know they're gonna get security to like escort me out and probably throw me out, Fresh Print style. But I was really like, God damn, I really want to walk in and be like, hey, so I'm a big fan. No hate or anything, but if you got some like Wolverine, like
she's like, I just want to look.
I just want to see. Let me just see. Like, yeah, I pass them all the time. I'm just like, damn, I really want to go in, but yeah.
But yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
You passed the one in North Carolina?
In North Carolina, yeah.
Yeah.
I lived in North Carolina for a while.
Yeah.
They're lucky I never found them. I would have bugged the shit out of them.
Yeah, I never found them.
He was like, I'm showing up every day with donuts so you let me in.
They would have my face.
I got a 4-day weekend, baby. I'll be right outside your window.
At the security desk, man. They'd be like, do not let this woman enter, yo. She's going to be here all the time. She usually comes in here around 9 o'clock. All right, just don't let her in. She's gonna probably come in a disguise, mustache, fake mustache and everything. Like, don't. She's gonna tell you she's like a janitor. Don't listen to her. She doesn't work here. But
The guy that says he's delivering donuts, don't let that motherfucker in. He's lying.
lying. We
He
didn't
is
want
not one of us.
But I mean, we can see, I think, a great example, and especially with the news that we got, I think it was like either yesterday or the day before yesterday. We see an example of PlayStation doing well on a game with a lower budget, and that is Astrobot, right?
Absolutely.
Congrats to Astrobot. It won Game of the Year at the DICE Awards. Despite people saying that the Keeleys were the only top reason that PlayStation was sweeping at the Keeleys was because it's bought and paid for by Sony, and they were referencing other game awards saying that those are the real ones, right? Those are we'll see who actually deserves to win. So that Astrobot and Helldivers swept there too. So I guess Sony's paying for DICE Awards too now, apparently. But yeah, congrats to Astro and Helldivers for those wins. Absolutely deserved.
I don't know how they keep up their financials. Would they be paying off everybody? God
That's why
damn.
we getting so many remaster and remakes. They're paying off all these award shows apparently. But the fact that I think the director or not just the director, but PlayStation made a statement saying they want more family friendly oriented games just like that.
I did see that.
After the success of Astro, right? And the fact that they're willing to spend more money on that genre, right? Which is a genre that PlayStation really hasn't been known for in a long time. Back when there was like Crash Bandicoot and Jack and Dexter and stuff like that. And when Ratchet and Clank was really big. Exactly, Spyro, all that stuff, right? Early PS days, right? So to see that, even though it only sold like 1 million or probably 2 million by now, we all know it made its money back.
I bet you it's more than that because it was at 1.5 the first month, and it was number 11. Indiana Jones won in its release month, which was 3 months after release. So it's probably like 2.5, 3 million now. Which still, I thought it would be 5 million by the end of the year, but.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear another announcement about them reaching another sales milestone with Astrobot.
3.3 or 3.5 or something.
Especially they dropped those new areas too for the game. They dropped some 3 actually. They'll be dropping them throughout the month and next month. 3 new areas for Astrobot. I mean, I love the fact that they're just continuing the content for this game. It's the support is absolutely crazy, but the fact that they're willing to still kind of they see the success of Astro and they want to invest, even though it's not selling at the rate of a God of War or a Spider-Man or a Last of Us, right? It shows you that they see the success of a game with a smaller budget and what you can get from that, right? Because I already know that Astro already made their money back. Like the fact that it was built in Japan, which they have smaller budgets, right? And everything like that. And the fact that it was obviously a much smaller game, and they had basically the skeleton of what they wanted to do from the Astros Playroom that was installed in PS5s and everything. They just like Kingdom Come Deliverance, they made their money back already, and they're in the profit regions now. So it's like they see that and they're like, you know what, we don't really there's studios and games we really don't have to spend that $100+ million budget and see success for. And I'm happy to see that we're gonna come back to those kind of smaller games, and maybe hopefully that'll lead to a Japan Studios style resurgence of those smaller type games that we used to get that everybody complains about that they don't get anymore. So that's a good thing to see from PlayStation. And it's a great thing to see that Astro is going to continue to get support. And I can't wait to see what Asobi Studio does next. Like I'm very curious what the next thing with Astro is. But there's proof out here that you really don't need to spend an astronomical amount of money to get profit and to get sales and to get that money back. And I think PlayStation's seeing that with Astro. And obviously the industry is kind of seeing that with Kingdom Come, because that's been a big talking point of Kingdom Come, is the fact that even with the sales that we consider low, exactly,
Palworld's like 5 million. That motherfucker made like $400 million.
It made it quadrupled it back in like the first day or week.
Yeah, it
Palworld. It was crazy. but yeah, I think the industry is just kind of seeing that now. They're hopefully they're taking heed to that, like, and they're not. Hopefully, publishers are looking at it the correct way, which is, oh, we can just scrape the budget of these people and force them to use less money, and hopefully get some money back. Hopefully, they're not reading it as that way and reading it as, okay, we just need to manage our budget correctly, and not go crazy, and we can get something great out of it. I remember specifically watching the God of War documentary with shout out to Corey Borlaug. He was also at Dice Awards with Neil Druckmann. They were doing a panel there, but he was speaking about how towards the end of the game, like, they ran out of budget, right? And they had to make some sacrifices to make the game work, essentially, right?
For God of War,
And for God of
2018?
War, yeah, 2018. And he was like,
Oh,
but the fact that they had to do that kind of forced the creative juices to get flowing and figure out what made the game work and what didn't. And he said a lot of the coolest scenes that we see in God of War 2018 are a result of that. The fact that they kind of had to work with what they had for 2018. And that's kind of like my point when it comes to these smaller, but like I hear that a lot from developers, like when I like either go to like their dev diaries or their Twitter, and they tweet about that, and they talk about how the fact that sometimes the most creative things come from the fact that you're kind of confined to either a certain budget or certain resources or something like that. That's when the creativity flows, because you're kind of
Exactly.
when you have like an infinite amount of resources, sometimes your creativity just gets away from you. You're like, oh man, we can do this, and this, and you get distracted by the infinite possibilities that this game can be, and you're not focused on what it was and what you were trying to do, right? Like you put too much in front of you, you get distracted. But when your budget is kind of constricted, you're kind of forced to focus on what you really want out of this game and what you're trying to get people to see from your game. Like, what is the experience that you want them to have when they play your game, right? And a lot, like I said, like I see that so many times, that rhetoric come from developers about how that kind of brings out the creativity when you're kind of focused. And I think that's a lot of the times why indies are just so great. Like, they have that lower budget, but they have that passion, and they know they're focused, and they know what they want out of their game, right?
I think with indies, they just can experiment.
Yeah,
Where with bigger budget, it's difficult to experiment because you can literally go out of business if
yeah.
your game don't do well.
I mean, you can go out of business as an indie too. We see it all the time with indie developers. They go out of business every day.
Yeah, but it's
But
different for an indie developer to go out of business versus a non-publisher or a studio.
I mean,
When it comes
sure, but
to
but at the end of the day, they both lose their jobs, so it's kind of like an end result the same. It's not like it's different. It's different for the publisher because now they're out money. But if you're a developer, either way, you're out of a job. Whether you work for a big publisher or you're independent, right? So it's just
Mhm.
like,
If you were an indie, 99% sure nobody fucking heard of it or knew that they went away.
exactly.
Well, I think my question is like really like, so when I think about what was spent, right? Purchasing the team and building something like Concord, right?
Man.
Yeah, I know.
What game?
I hate to bring that. I hate to bring that game up, but
I've never heard of it. I don't know. I don't know what that game is.
hold
What are you talking about?
no,
Exactly.
Omar, you can't. No, Omar, you can't say nothing because I already know you with Concord. So let me get it out. But splitting that budget in three, with three newer teams, set out to do stuff like Kingdom Come Deliver, not mimicking that game, but I'm saying like the way that the style, the way this game is created, the smaller team, much smaller budget on marketing, because that's another problem. Marketing is a big problem for a lot of these games.
Yeah.
But that and another good example of this recently, a game we're all looking forward to, Expedition 33, right? So you've got more than one example of two teams. One game has landed, the other game is coming soon, where they seem to be doing extraordinary things without a massive budget, right? And not even a massive team. because the team behind Expedition 33 is like they almost are 33. That would have been ironic if they were 33 people making Expedition 33, but I think they're like more like 40 to 50 or something like that. But like seeing what these teams are able to achieve, also in a reasonable amount of time frame, like I said, with much lower budgets, like I'd love to see PlayStation take that, like I said, split those budgets up. And the people are out here, right? I mean, we got devs losing their jobs left and right. And it's not because they're not good. It's because of bad business decisions being made for some of the games they're being put on, right? So there's a ton of talent out here seeking positions, looking to get back into something, wanting to do something new and creative. Like PlayStation has a deficit in a first party of RPGs, and like you said, the family oriented games, so on and so forth. Take some of these games at that budget level and bring something quality to the table the way that these companies are. I think it's possible. I think it's something they need to be looking at, so that, like you said, they can strike that balance of let Naughty Dog, go crazy and do their thing at the tippy top, at the AAA crazy level. But you can still put out AAA quality titles that are just not doing every little detail in the kitchen sink the way that, The Last of Us 2 is. And I think you could achieve like a happy medium.
See, I would love that. But as soon as that PlayStation logo comes up on the screen and it's not at the level of graphic fidelity that people are used to with PlayStation, I just know the backlash is that's gonna rain down. Because even at a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, right? Let's just say Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was published and it was owned by PlayStation, right? Yeah. Even with that, people would nitpick that. Like now, people like it, but as soon as you put a PlayStation logo next to it, people would nitpick the hell out of it.
I don't disagree.
Like that. Man.
I don't disagree, but that's why I said it should come from. It should come from a new studio. I was like, it can't come from Insomniac.
Even if it was from a new studio, the moment you give them the PlayStation banner, people are going to assume that they're going to make a certain quality game, and I think the backlash from that would be like it would just be bad. People would be like, this isn't this is what PlayStation is doing now. They're making these style games, but what happened to the graphics? I don't know. Like I said, gamers are so fickle, and
this is literally what happened with Rise of the Ronin.
Rise of the Ronin is not made by them. It's just published. So, Rise of the Ronin has other issues.
Co-developed.
Yeah, Rise of the Ronin has other issues. Like, it also has a lot of issues with the way that it runs, and the actual whatever they'd actually developed it on has a lot of issues. Yeah, the engine they used is another issue. So there's other issues with Rise. So it's not. It's irrelevant. Rise is ugly as shit. Hold on, let's get it right. Rise is ugly as shit compared to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I've played both. So there's a difference in games that
always look like early ass PS4 games.
Yeah, that's like
they ain't upgraded that engine at all.
Yeah, that they just need to come off that engine.
All that shit.
Oh yeah, Team Ninja.
You better give that shit a new coat of paint or rebuild the building blocks or something like.
That's why I said I think there's a happy medium here, and no, it is not going to be Rise of the Ronin, right?
Yeah, like, I don't think it's going to be Rise. I like Rise, but that's not the graphics I was talking about, because that's kind of a far
that's far down. Yeah, that's too far. That's why I said I feel like there's a happy medium they could get with.
Yeah, I was thinking more of a Kingdom Come 2, because I think it looks graphically great. Obviously, it's not, Rockstar or Naughty Dog level, but it's graphic. It looks good. It looks really good, right? But I think once you put, like I said, that PlayStation banner under something, people start looking at it through a microscope. People start looking under it, with that magnifying glass.
Looking for Peach Fuzz, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just like, oh, the characters, like, especially because one thing about Kingdom Come Deliverance is like the mocap, right? Like it has kind of that Horizon Zero Dawn kind of facial animation, as like it's kind of stiff, right? It's not that Horizon Forbidden West where it's like, you're talking to NPCs and it's very interactive. It looks like, real conversations, the flowing, the mouth, the way they move their hands when they talk, like it looks like damn near realistic, right? Like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is more of the Zero Dawn version where it's like really stiff, the mouth moves, but it's kind of it's not like the best facial mocap, right? And I just think if it was a PlayStation logo under that would be what people would be focusing on. Like, oh, why does it look like this? Why is it like this is the PlayStation that we're paying for? This is $70, right? They would ignore all the great things it's doing and focus on the fact that it's not up there with the Naughty Dogs, with the Insomniacs, with the Santa Monicas and stuff like that, right? Especially with the Gorillas, right? And that's what I'm saying. PlayStation set a bar so high for themselves that anything lower than that is scrutinized, right? Like,
I mean,
like I said,
they're gonna have to start a secondary publisher or something because
something
got to give.
Ragnarok was criticized for it not being, and so I'm saying, so it's like you want to go, if we go lower than that, imagine the pushback on that, like, because Ragnarok was too close to 2018. Oh man, it's not doing anything. So imagine going a step below Ragnarok and seeing what people say from that. I don't know. Maybe they could, like I said, maybe if they fold a well-known studio, like I'm not saying for them to acquire Warhorse. I think Warhorse is doing fine on their own. But I'm saying for an example, like a Warhorse who is known for what they do, maybe maybe then they would accept Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or the next Kingdom Come Deliverance 3 to look the way they've always looked, and they'll accept that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and not just Kingdom Come, right? There's Expedition 33. Like one of the main points about Expedition 33 from the moment we've all seen it is everybody talks about how good it looks. Yeah. So it's like their budget's not skyrocketed either, just because of how it looks.
Yeah, I think and that allowed them. It's a small dev team too.
Yeah, it's a small team, and they're able to achieve, like, they have like one head artist and like a small little art team. Like you saw the whole art team in like that one area.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say we saw. Yeah, I feel like we saw all the employees in the.
We saw Xbox like everybody that works there, and it's like, but you still look at this game and what they were able to achieve. All these systems they were able to put into place, all these things they were able to design, and still create a phenomenal looking game, with a turn-based RPG mechanic, with an entirely new groundbreaking mechanic that they've put in, with the active combat system on top of it, allowing you to enhance or dodge or defense and so on and so forth. And it's like they're able to still achieve all this with this itty bitty team, and it's like there's gotta be some happy medium out there where PlayStation could do that.
I think a lot of it will have to come from outside the US though, because Expedition 33 is a French team.
Places in the US, all their glamour studios are in fucking high cost of living areas. Like,
and I think they're gonna have
goddamn to LA and
I think they're gonna have to redo that.
In studios, and Bend is in Oregon or whatever. But it's like, I think if they were going to do something like that, it would have to be more of a outside of the US type of thing, just like what they're trying to Hero Project and
that's what I think those projects are finally doing, right? They're bringing in, like, you're seeing teams again from that project doing amazing looking stuff, like the upcoming Phantom Blade Zero, where they're achieving some great looking stuff without these still obviously
to Lost Souls aside, we've got to see a little bit more. You got the release date for that.
I'm more excited about Phantom Blade than any other game by far. It ain't even close.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they're achieving all this with all these partnerships and capabilities of discovering all these people outside the US who are honestly capable of making some amazing games without these insanely massive budgets. And like I said, don't stop those games. That's why I said it's a combo effort. You know what I'm saying? Don't stop them, but bring about the talent. Yeah, and like you said, it'll probably have to be from outside the U.S., which is fine, because that's where a lot of this talent is coming from.
Yeah, aren't that expensive, I bet.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I'm saying.
I think it'll be definitely just up to PlayStation as to whether they want to invest in that, because I know they love their $100+ million damn studio so much.
We love them too, but they be asking, so we giving them a point. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, this is what you could do while maintaining the status
quo.
These
live service games. How about we invest in these outside studios?
Yeah, You could have hit them profit margins day one. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy. If you would have just listened, I'm just putting it out
I'm
there.
still mad at the fact that I think like a Marvel Rivals would have fit so well with PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a live service game that, you know, they could have just relied specifically on that and been done with live service with that amount of money Marvel Rivals is making right now.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
just like, why wouldn't play like with their close association with Marvel and Disney? I think that would have just been, I don't know why they didn't think of doing a game like this. Especially
because that
since
probably
they're-
cost them $80 million doing it in China, would cost them $750 doing it in America.
True, but I mean, they're investing in a Wolverine. They're about to do apparently according to Insomnia, they're gonna do an X-Men type game. So it's like they're already paying for all these Marvel characters anyway. So it's just like you should have done it. Like it seems like a slam dunk, but I guess
But again,
hindsight is 2020.
that goes into the thing that we talked about when we had brought it up when we were discussing kind of the design philosophy that kind of hinders PlayStation and that's what happened with Concord, right? Why it costs so much. It's like over engineering the problem. Like you're trying to Naughty Dog everything you put out.
They tried to PlayStation-ify the game.
Live service, yeah.
They were like, let's make a live service game, but let's like slap the PlayStation essence on it though.
So I get you guys on all of that, but my question becomes, where the fuck was Bungie to trying to stop all of that?
I explained to you where Bungie was. I told you Bungie hasn't been shit for a long time, which is why their player base was their loss of player base was like over 60% or something for like the longest time until the final shape where they finally got a bump, and even that wasn't long lasting.
Okay, so is it fair to say that Bungie is a shell of their former self?
Absolutely.
And the PlayStation got played.
I mean, they it came out already that they did. I mean, that studio is basically gutted at this point, and they're working. They cut a ton of people, had to trim a bunch of the fat, and now they're definitely a shadow of what they used to be. So yeah, like they weren't the rescue live service superhero team that they were cut out to be. Not at all.
The irony.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
I remember one of PlayStation game from that one studio got literally cancelled because of them rumors, but
yeah, they caused a lot of drama since they've been on the team. So let's hope PlayStation has learned their lesson as far as that goes.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah. We've out of everything you've been listening to and hearing, the discussion, you see a future where you believe that they could launch something like this. The like I said, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, from like maybe a subsidiary of PlayStation, as main studios. In the chat, Hero mentioned like PlayStation Originals and PlayStation Family or something, almost like a different label. How you feel about that, Weeb?
Well, I don't think necessarily they need a different label.
Okay.
Because we like you mentioned Astrobot. Like this is not a. I mean, Team Asobi is a small team.
Yeah.
And they were able to deliver
Game of the Year,
quality title.
Absolutely.
And with a reasonable budget. So it is certainly possible for PlayStation to do so. I think I don't know what the budget was for Returnal, but Housemarque also doesn't seem to be a studio that's making games that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And they I think still make quality titles. So I think the expectation sort of is like you said, like Naughty Dog can't really do budget titles because that's what they're built up to be, and that's fine. Like, so yeah, you need to have specific studios that cater to that particular double A stage, whatever you want to call it, right? That the mid-range titles. Yeah, maybe they need to acquire more studios in that department, or create new ones that sort of focus on that niche, right? And hopefully, with the failure of the live service games, with the exception of Helldivers so far, and success of some of their smaller titles. Maybe that'll push them to instead of trying to diversify in a way of okay, we're going to do service games and multiplayer because our single player games cost so much money and they're so risky that they're like, oh, maybe we can also make smaller titles that are still single player experiences, not necessarily service games, and can be very successful and yeah, maybe not just as successful like as Morgan mentioned, like God of War or The Last of Us, but as long as they're successful, as in they make their money back and then some. And if you have plenty of those, you can still run a successful business without have to rely on either service games or usually successful single player AAA experiences, right? So yeah, I definitely think that's a possibility for them, and maybe indeed it's reasonable to expect that they might at least explore that possibility. I think that's also where probably Shu was more. That's why he went to the to care of the indies. That he was looking more after the smaller titles, and I think Sony definitely needs to not necessarily make indies because that's kind of counter intuitive. If you're AAA publisher and then you make indie games, but you can of course support them. I think Sony is doing a lot of right things. Externally in terms of their partnerships and like the China Hero project and other similar regional projects. I think they're in India and somewhere in the Middle East. They're starting with similar projects, so they are doing the right thing in that department. It's just yeah, we want that from their own studios. Whether they necessarily need to, yeah, go in a buying spree or something, or do that with external partnerships, that's that's up to them. Like, I'm not necessarily in favor of them having to have all those studios in house. Like, you can certainly make a AA game on a budget, on or let's say with a PlayStation property, and just subcontract like they did with Sackboy Adventures. Like, it's certainly possible. Like, it's not that they have to necessarily keep everything in house. So. But yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. But
A studio like Sucker's Punch, they should expand because their budget wasn't that much because they're not in the most expensive place in the fucking United States either.
Yeah, and that definitely, like, I think that the problem there is also that yeah, it's the most expensive area, but this is also where the talent is, right? So that's why they they set up the studios there because yeah, in the end people do wanna work where they live, right? They don't want to have to travel across the country just because of their job, and that was especially at the time when there was a shortage and there was a boom and everybody was fighting each other to hire the best developers, right? Then you need to get close where they are, and that's the way it is, right? But yeah, I think what we're discussing, like I said, with the project of the China Hero project, that's definitely already showing that they were thinking about that direction, right? I think these projects were set up exactly for that reason. I don't know the details, but I would suspect that Shu probably had a hand in that. That you're opening up new markets and also opening up discovering new talent, right? And having these studios make games that look fantastic, look like double A or something triple A games, but at a considerably reduced cost, right? So it like Stellar Blade.
Yep.
Perfect example, yeah. I mean, it's not like it's a third party studio, but Sony stepped in and said, yeah, we heard you're having some difficulties, and here's some money and some expertise from our side to help you finish that game. And they became all the better for it. And and I'm certain that they hadn't had to spend like $100 million or whatever to get that game finished, because it's a completely different cost region, right? So I mean, I think they're already, they kind of know that this is a way forward, and I think that they do need to, yeah, realize that, yeah, double down on that and less on the service games, and yeah, maybe, but focus also internally on that. But if we don't necessarily, at least I don't necessarily need to see them buy studios, if you can do that with external partnerships. Um, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you all with that. It's certainly possible to make a very successful game without having to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. There's a place for both, and I think that's the best way for them to diversify. Make instead of just trying to hit gold, with a service game. Like, yeah, if it happens, it happens, but you can force it. And I think that's
Exactly.
the message of that game that shall not be named, as given Sony. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I 100% agree. Well said. Did anybody else have anything they want to add to
People
that
out of
topic?
China into Korea or something like that and start a studio there or something.
Man, they got to do something.
Speaking of China Hero Project, it was such a missed opportunity to not, I'm gonna say that word because they love saying it, money had that Devil May Cry woman game.
Potentially. I mean, it looked good, but I
It
mean,
looked great.
we got a long way to go on that one. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
Stop
that it
being
was
anti-consumer.
missed.
Stop being anti-consumer more.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that's a miss. I mean,
Yeah.
they may not have wanted that. I mean, again, like a lot like the Xbox guys when they say stuff like that, you got to remember someone's got to want for you to give you exclusivity, and they might not have needed that.
Mm.
So, that's always something you got to keep in mind. Um, but yeah, we'll jump right into the next topic.
Yeah, I want to say something because I've been quiet.
You want to say something else on
You
it?
have?
Yeah,
Wait a minute. You
I
I
have?
was
want to
like, you've been
say,
talking the whole time with everybody else. What do you want to add?
no, I waited my time.
Is it specific to this
Yeah,
topic?
no, very quick, very quick. When it comes to this, it just PlayStation fans are just spoiled because of PlayStation. It literally that's it.
And I don't care about none of
Uh,
them. So, like I
sorry.
said, PlayStation need to be here for us to
Yeah,
be
the
continue to
issue
be
with
spoiled. So,
the issue with PlayStation is they listen to backlash when it, well, basically it's not fun gamers. That's basically it. And when it comes to this, I don't think because they have created this persona that they are a bigger, better, bet. Like for example, Forbidden West. Show me a game that's on the level of Forbidden West, where you can fly, where you can go underwater, 60 FPS on all the stuff. It's hard to create to find. Yet their people are expected that from PlayStation. So when they do something else, say Astrobot, yeah, it won award, but people are gonna look at it and think, hey, it's not worth it. But in my opinion, it's not only worth it, but in PlayStation opinion, it's worth it as well, because this game literally not gonna force PlayStation to create more kid-friendly games, and I'm all for it. I literally went back and played the levels for Astrobot, including the newest one, and it showcased why they're king when it comes to this. Also, I can trust this enough shout out to them to highlight where they came from, which is basically uh, copying a Nintendo, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to the developer part, this one, at some point you just gotta ask developers, what are you doing? Again, I will always go back, and it's not like they're learning from their mistakes. Like I uh, like the amount of mini games that there are in Seven Rebirth is astonishing. Like and the issue is these games this when they're making now three, they're already making three. They said they're not gonna cut down on the amount of what you call it mini games. Um, so to me it feels like it's w- time wasting. It's just I really wish that developers would what you call it accept quality of life improvement and not like for example you're on chocobo, you should be able to grab something on the road. You that should not be something you get at the end of the game or
I mean,
rather after
that's a
beating
Square
the
Enix
game.
issue, but yeah.
Yeah, but other developer have other issue. But it to me at the end of the day, uh, people gonna judge it from the look, either visuals or character design. We've seen that with um the what do we call not Guardian of the
Concord.
Galaxy.
Yes.
No, the other one, not Guardian. Guardian of the Galaxy even got destroyed.
Avengers, I mean,
Yeah,
probably.
Avengers. Thank you.
I mean,
Guardian of the
that's what
Galaxy
they get for messing with character
got
designs that were established, but that's their fault.
got destroyed. Even though it's an amazing game, it's just people have such hatred for Guardian for Avengers that they didn't even support Guardian of the Galaxy until the reviews came out. So if, as always, reviews are important, and review can make or break
So
your
well,
game.
it's all because of Avengers.
Yeah,
That and
yeah.
and you know what else it was? The first time they showed that it looked like boo boo titties.
It
That game
it
looked really bad the first time they showed it. It was rough, and that's why
it.
people don't want
Yeah,
to show
it
their
did.
games early.
So my for the whole um PlayStation issue with JRPG, for me the best solution to that, round up every single Japanese developer that get laid off and start your own studio.
They got
Like
laid off. That means they're not probably not the best at their job.
not per se, no. They
You're
can
gonna
leave.
you're gonna
But
take a collection of the bottom of all the studios and make
no, so
So
a
PlayStation gonna make their own
collection
Suicide
you tell
Squad.
me
a
PlayStation gonna make their
collection
own
of the forgotten.
Suicide Squad.
You tell me Shinji
Not
Mikami
Suicide Squad.
is. You tell me Shinji Mikami is not a
Everybody,
good person.
everybody, everybody doesn't.
Everybody's not
Everybody
that.
doesn't.
Stop
No,
it.
no, but the
Everybody
thing is,
doesn't
he
fit
left.
that bill, though. That's why I said the talent needs to be global and recognized in a different way. That's what I said because they're clearly not going to do that, and I don't expect them to, like you say, round up everybody and be like, "Hey, here,
Yeah, building a
go in the
studio
studio and
is
make a JRPG. That's what I got
a
you guys
lot of
for."
work and a lot of money, which is why PlayStation usually buys established studios. You
And
know,
they'd have to
because
Yeah,
poach
and
people from their
they
partners, which
don't
would piss them off too.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why
they
we
don't
said the
have
You're
other
not
way.
realistic. They're not gonna
they
do it,
don't
Omar, ever. Just
they don't
forget it.
have they don't have Square Enix to for support anymore. Their relationship with PlayStation is down the drain now.
I
Are
mean,
they're
How?
not releasing games on
No,
PlayStation anymore.
No,
that's
I'm talking about
bullshit, Omar.
I'm
That is
talking
very
about
That's bullshit.
bullshit.
no, it's not bullshit. It's not
It is,
bullshit.
it
This
is
is not
bullshit.
bullshit.
Where
It's not.
where are
Like
you basing that on? Where are you basing that
this
on?
is it.
When have they said our
I'm
relationship
literally
is soured? They never said that.
they
I'm
never
literally
said that.
basing. No. I'm talking about they're not gonna. So you guys expecting exclusivity deals with
Then you
PlayStation?
need to say
They
that.
they
This is
don't they
what this
don't they
is.
don't need exclusivity deals no more. Xbox is fucking toast.
Hey,
Oh,
and you know what's funny? Because everybody's talking about they're not gonna launch not gonna make exclusivity deals anymore. They never said that either. What they said is that for part three, they confirmed it will not be a PS6 exclusive, which can mean anything. It can just mean it's a cross-gen game, so it's going to release on PS5 and PS6.
I know what you're talking about. I was not focusing on that. I was focusing on, again, on consistent
But
enough.
yeah,
Every
but wait,
single.
this is what we keep telling you is important when you are saying something, how important it is to use the appropriate wording, because you said their relationship is bad now or is worsened or it's not. None of that has happened. They are just reevaluating their own strategy on where and when they release their games. We
Honestly,
don't
they
know
probably
that though.
looking at they want to get their games on Switch too, and they don't want to take an exclusivity deal because there's more money to be made between PlayStation and Nintendo than PlayStation would be willing to pay out.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
I will always judge it based on what you call it, Astrobot. The
Now what?
fact that
What?
I would like, again. You guys think that's nothing.
I
The
don't. I don't.
fact
I
that
mean,
they
I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that.
the fact that they're on zero Final Fantasy characters, Kingdom Hearts
Oh
characters.
my God! Wait, you're
Oh
using
my
Astrobot as the
god.
litmus test for this?
Yeah, I'm gonna use that.
Lord
Okay, so okay, let's
Jesus.
move on because Omar once
Let's,
again is going
let's
off the
move
deep
on.
end.
Let's move
Yeah.
on.
That man is reaching farther than a kid reach for candy. I swear to
Oh
God.
my god, bro. This man just
Hey.
Fantastic for the whole topic.
Jesus,
Stretching
man.
all the way across the goddamn globe.
Omar was like, yo, I
Jeez.
know we were just talking about the next state over, but I want to reach for the moon. Take a
Please,
ride with
yeah,
me for a
Astrobot
moment.
though, guys.
No,
Yeah, I was like,
I
wait,
did
where's
go
this
on-
going?
I did go on tangent. That's fair, but
Lord,
let's move
okay.
on.
Oh man, that was funny. Let me stop laughing. Okay. I can't even focus anymore. Well, okay, so it's because of that. We're just gonna go. I'm gonna skip the other topic so I can stop laughing. But state of play. We all watched it. We all seen it. We saw what was there, what was on show. One of them is on screen right now. Lost Soul Aside, which honestly looked phenomenal. It looked a lot better than I've seen it thus far. Period. This game is a huge step up from what it started as. I imagine we got to see a visual representation for this game's development, a lot like what maybe took place with Stellar Blade. Because when this game started, compared to the diversity and environment, which looks like potential different skill sets, different characters and villains and everything they've got going on now, is just this game is sky high different. So yeah, again, Lost Soul Aside was shown there at the State of Play. We also had the release date for Borderlands 4, which is massive for me, knowing that's coming out later this year, and they're going to stick that release date, at the very least that release year. Again, super excited for that one for myself. There were a couple other games that were shown there as well. They did show the same trailer, which I didn't know, so I'm glad Weeb and Morgan pointed that out for me. The same trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is kind of weird. That apparently came out prior, and then just showed the release date. And then we did have a reveal for the Tides of Annihilation, which a lot of people are really loving the look of. That is multi-platform. Gives me Devil May Cry kind of vibes. If you haven't seen it, you check that out as well. And then obviously they ended with Saros, I believe is how you pronounce that, or Saros, whatever. They haven't really said. But the new game from Housemarque, which obviously has a ton of people excited. They have a ton of fans that love their bullet hell style, and they stepped it up with their prior game, and it looks like they're just gonna step it up again. I'm interested to see what this one's gonna turn out as, if they're gonna go with the same style with a roguelike or whatnot, and how
No,
they kind
so
of go about
actually
it.
they said that they're not gonna go like this, but anymore. They wanna make it simpler than Returnal.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they do then when they elaborate on that. But yeah, Weeb, let's start with you, man. What was your opinion on the state of play? You can give us, if you want to make it simple, you can give us a highlight or multiple highlights. If you have multiple highlights, where are your highlights of the show, and ultimately where your score landed and why.
I always hate scoring things, but
I know.
I mean it was a decent show. There were some weird things like I said, the Metal Gear Delta trailer. Um, of course, the highlight was the remaster of Days Gone. It's the greatest game ever
Oh
Absolutely.
made.
God, don't
Best part of the
mention
show.
that.
That absolutely sold. So yeah, 11 out of 10, of course.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Um, of course, the obligatory Monster Hunter, which I kind of like. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
So we can skip that. But yeah, I mean, Shinobi or the Vengeance, definitely a highlight. I think it was announced with the Game Awards, but I don't think we saw really much gameplay. So it looks absolutely fantastic.
It does.
I know Omar loves it too. And no, Omar, it's not Ninja Gaiden. It's Shinobi.
It's not
Um,
we're gonna move on.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it looks great. It looks really what like Okami art style, but then 2D side-scrolling action, very clearly Metroidvania. Uh, Omar, right? It's a Metroidvania, right? um, yeah, and yeah, Lasso aside as well. Like I was very skeptical about this game because of how long it took for development, and but
Same.
yeah, you can see where the time went to. It absolutely looks great. So I'm back being excited again, and also a launch date. So yeah, this year is getting even more packed. Um, yeah, I mean, it was also nice to see that Like a Dragon had a demo announcement, but also the Dave the Diver crossover. Um, and also the Darwin's paradox, kind of like that Squid Game, not that Squid Game, but the or octopus game, where you seem to play as an octopus. But it looked really good, looked really fun,
Yeah,
and apparently also coming out this year.
Yeah, that looks good.
Onimusha 2 remaster announcement, and the another trailer for Wave the Sword, and apparently you get to play Miyamoto Musashi, greatest swordsman that ever lived. So, and he looks really fun. So I'm actually absolutely looking forward to it. Of course, it's still a year away at least, but it's looking good.
It is.
Um, and other than that, yeah, Ties of Annihilation, as you mentioned, looks really good. Like I hadn't heard about this before, so this was a nice surprise.
It was.
I've also seen they dropped another gameplay trailer, which gives you more in-depth looks of what the gameplay looks like. And yeah, it looks good. Like definitely, it looks like a character action game. So I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Um, yeah, I mean, I think this is also a Chinese game, so China's really on the roll here. So this looks great. So that was definitely my say game of the show, right? Because that came out of nowhere. Um, Mind's High was also interesting. The game from the former Rockstar devs. Definitely see the Rockstar DNA in there, but with interesting sci-fi twist. So also interesting to to see what this game's gonna shape out to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and Saros also looked interesting, of course, with my man Raul finally getting his game where he can star in. Yeah, I didn't finish Returnal, but what I played from it was quite good. So um, yeah, I definitely will check it out. And once it drops, or once we know more, yeah, I'll put it on my radar. So overall, there were some interesting announcements, some weird things. Um, so I'd say it gets a passing grade,
Okay.
uh, 6 or something. That's fair, based on the fact that did share some surprising announcements. But overall, yeah, lots of stuff we already saw, and some weird trailers or weird choices, I guess.
Yeah,
So
like
I definitely,
Digimon
yeah,
randomly.
yeah, and the thing is, I think that was also something, is rumor or confirmed, that Sony's considering whether to do a showcase or no state of play. Like definitely a showcase, like a proper
Yeah, we need
showcase.
one. We need one.
Yeah, because this is sort of like, did every time they do one, it sometimes have a good one, but most of the time they're just people complaining about it. It's doing them more harm than good, really. So like if you're just dropping trailers of games where you could have just drop a YouTube trailer, yeah, it's not really worth it. You need a showcase where you can just highlight your own games, and maybe some exclusive partnerships, and then some exclusive reveals, premieres or whatever, that kind of stuff. Like that's sort of what people are looking forward to. This is basically, for the most part, a glorified clip show of trailers strung together. um, yeah, so yeah. But like I said, it gets a passing grade just because there were some surprises that I liked.
Okay. Yeah. I can agree with that sentiment. That was about the same for me. I landed somewhere like 5.56 or whatever. Um, just because, like you said, not everything that was shown interests me, or a lot of the stuff that was shown we already knew about, uh, stuff like that. So it's like, but yeah, the few surprises, like you said, like the game I have on screen now, the Tides of Annihilation, and so on and so forth, was definitely interesting. And I actually think at first I was kind of like weirded out, like with when they showed the Digimon game, but I guess it might be like a new play on Cyber Sleuth, which I actually did enjoy those games. So
I'm creative but connected to Cyber Sleuth. Connected to Cyber Sleuth.
yeah, they haven't like solidified that yet, but it actually looks like it might be turn based. So if it is, then I imagine it is. So that's another plus from them if it is turns out to be that, because like I said, I did enjoy those games. Um, Omar, what are your highlights, and what is your score for the
Dude,
state of play?
this data play was a roller coaster. So I'm I know I'm gonna get hate for this, but I'm gonna score this one twice. Basically, at a showcase and at a PlayStation showcase. Um, at a showcase, it's amazing. Like, it's an it's a 7 or an 8. There's a lot of games that I wanna play, and even the rehash stuff I'm excited about. Like, for example, Fleet Fiction. Everyone here is excited about that one
Yeah,
from Joseph Fares. The surprise Saros, like, my biggest regret is not getting the Returnal plat, but that's just RNG at its best, fucking with me. Um, that Octopus game, like, yeah, sign me up. I'm excited for that one. I already got spoiled by it, but the new Digimon game, absolutely, day one. I love Digimon. Um, that uh, Tales of Annihilation, again, missed opportunity to not have it exclusive or time exclusive for PlayStation. But other than that, I'm super excited about that. I'm getting multiple fights from it. I'm getting a Valkyrie, uh,
Elysium.
Yeah, thank you, Elysium, not profile.
Yeah,
Elysium vibe. I'm getting
I've heard
DMC
that, but
vibe.
I hope it's nothing like that game because I hated that game.
No,
But yeah,
it's just the way you summon your characters. I'm curious. how it's gonna be. Because on the top of the screen, you can see it's, the person is switching mid combat to be able to use other summons. I'm gonna call them summons.
Yeah,
Super exciting, super, uh, you know, cool looking, crisp looking. Can't wait for it. Other than that, um, new Shinobi game. I never played the first one. I think. It's a Metroidvania, so day one. You already know. Um,
mm-hmm.
Do
other
you
than
know?
he
most
know
kind
he
of
knows now.
yeah, no, I literally had no idea. You guys understand that. Monster Hunter is, I just talked about that. I get it. Gotta pay the bills. You and I and it, we are super excited. Borderlands 4. It
Absolutely.
seems they are back with a vengeance. We're gonna see how they're gonna do it. Now all we need an amazing villain, and we got Borderlands 2 all over again. Greatness. Other than that, oh yeah, Ominusha. Like, I'm excited to get into the franchise because never played any. So I got a couple games to play. And for Metal Gear, yeah, I need to play two, and then after that I will play this one. And I think, oh yeah, there were also some horror games that I might get, like from the city behind Until Dawn, and there was also this game all the way from Clay, I think. What's that word? Oh fuck me. I'm not sure if Clay is an English word because it's Dutch in a different sentence. So, is that an English word? I know you.
Claymation, man.
Huh? I forgot what it's called, but basically it's
Yeah,
designed.
Omar, it's clay. It's fine. Go.
Yeah, okay, Clay. Thank you. So yeah, that one looks surprisingly unique. So despite me not loving horror, I'm gonna play it. I like the concept. And other than that, I think I covered it all. Like, there was a lot of surprises, especially with the ending with Tarot, that make it exciting. But then when you go to PlayStation themselves, like, what they're doing, where are their studios, what they're working on, the silent is killing their own showcases at this point in time. Because we talked about it, it's the expectation 40 minutes. Yes, it's a state of play and not a showcase, but still, you at least expect something from 40 minutes, and to be just yeah, Saros, amazing showcase, amazing reveal. I wish it had some gameplay with it so we can see what we're getting, especially with them combining Returnal and all their other games combined to and finding an evolution for it. It's frustrating. It gets a 3 at a PlayStation. Hey, a showcase. Maybe they're gonna do an actual showcase, and I will give them a 10 because at this point in time they can only go up, right? They've been down for so long. They can only go up. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Um. Lost Soul aside, everyone talk about it. Yeah, 10 years in the making. 10 years in the making. I'm super excited about that. And someone said it on Twitter. Action games are coming back at this point. Coming back with a vengeance after the atrocity that was 16. Like between Lost Soul aside, between Annihilation. we're eating real good. But at this point in time, everyone should be eating real good, right? Like there is everything for everyone to play. But hey, people will complain. I just wish we had played taken actual games, first party titles, showcasing what they're working on. It's been way too long.
Yeah,
But
maybe
yeah,
you'll get your wish this
okay.
summer. We'll see what happens. Um, Nelson, what was your?
Actually, really, really liked it. Except I was disappointed too because what I expected to be there wasn't there, but a lot of things I didn't expect to be there was there. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I thought I'd see like a minute to 90 seconds of Ghost of Yotai. I just want to see some combat. What's going on? What does it look like? What do my enemies look like? Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Some of
you
the
want them to give you some
some of
more of the
some
game.
of the combat. What's new? What the environment looks like, etc. So I was disappointed that that wasn't there. Death Stranding 2, I wanted to see if it had more action in it, if I was going to be a postal service guy again, or if this was going to be a little more fleshed out and have more interaction in between being the mailman. And I didn't see that either, and that's what I was expecting. But I got what I didn't expect was a new IP, Saros, and it
Oh,
sounds
you're
like it's
gonna be
going to
the
be a touch,
mailman.
huh?
You're gonna still be the mailman.
Well, yeah, but am I going to do anything besides deliver to the mail, like rob somebody and shoot them or something, you know? Or am I just going to be throwing shit bombs and running from globs? I don't know. I still have to finish the first one. I still got to figure out how to transfer save data. But um, there was a lot of things I seen that I didn't expect, like Saros. I can't wait to see that later this year. That was a teaser. But Metal Eden looked cool. I'm not into first person games, but the guns look cool. I just want to see more of that because that was very brief. And then
Yeah.
Mind's Eye, that looked fucking phenomenal. That that all of a sudden went into my top 5 games for the year this year. Um, Tides of Annihilation, I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, but it looks fantastic.
It does.
That's something. Yeah, I'm not buying many games day one this year because of time, money, and resources. Things I'm going to be lacking all year. Um, and then the Shinobi game looked good. There's so many games that look good. Even the Squid game looked good. I might pick that up on a sale or something, but I'm gonna play that too. There were so many games, and then that I liked. Onimusha looks like 2026 game of the year as of right now. Fucking kicking tables at people and throwing pots at them and shit. That looked fucking tits, man. I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for that. And then you got the Onimusha 2 port. So I got the first one on Xbox. I can finally get the next one. So, and those are the only two I completed was Seminowski and Jubei ones. So, because after that I was off the army, so I didn't know about the other ones until the franchise was dead when I got back. So,
Yeah, that could definitely happen.
so yeah.
What's
So I
your?
saw a lot of games that were like shot their way into and then lost soul side. I mean, I've been waiting for that for a decade.
Pretty
So
much.
games I didn't even know if I was be playing or didn't know exist shot into my top like 5 for the year, like 4 of the top 5 for the
Okay, so
year.
you sound like you
So
really dug it. So, ultimately, if you had to score it, uh,
eight because yeah, some of what I was looking for from it I didn't get, but
wasn't there.
the surprises really, yeah, there was a lot of stuff there that I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" You know what I mean?
Okay,
But
that makes sense. Appreciate it. Um, and lastly, here, uh, Morgan, what did you think of the show, and what were some of your highlights?
Eh, it was mid for me. Was not
To
really that
let the
impressed.
people know.
Um, didn't really care for it at all. I mean, I pretty much knew it was gonna be that way.
Yeah.
Um, I saw what I expected. I was just like, eh. I mean, it has some cool stuff, like the Day of the Diver crossover with Yakuza that was goaded. Um, it had some cool little games like the Annihilation and the new game from Housemarque. But pretty much everything else was, for me at least, was a lot of things that I've already seen. But I guess given kind of definitive dates for things. Um, I think what really pissed me off was that announcement of that Days Gone remaster, and that just soured the whole experience for me. I was just like,
Understandable.
why? Again, PlayStation just doing stuff that I just kind of shake my head at sometimes. Yeah, I just want a showcase from them. Like, I'm not gonna grade it on the scale of a showcase because it's not a showcase, but this just made me want a showcase.
I
Honestly,
agreed. It did nothing but make you
I
want
was
one.
just like, I'm sick of the state of plays, man. Like, state of plays are cool; they have their place, but when it's a showcase is absent, all it does is just make me long for a showcase.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be
Um,
additives on, and then the showcase is what sets
right?
it off. Yeah, I get that.
It's just
Yeah, they
supposed to
wouldn't run
be
into
like,
a problem if they had a showcase every year. So it's like
yeah,
when
it's
you spread shit out every, start expecting shit that ain't gonna be there because it's like, well, you didn't show us this last year, so
yeah,
fucking, you know what I mean? I mean, they kind of dig their own. They dig their
yeah.
own shit. You know what I mean?
It's I saw somebody tweet something and I absolutely agree with it. It was just like PlayStation's kind of set themselves up for um this inevitable pushback because their last few state of plays, they drop like a surprise in there as far as from their first party goes.
Hmm.
And because of that, people have unrealistic expectations when it comes to state of plays, right? Because they put those kind of big gems in there, people are now expecting state of plays to kind of, outdo the next one or whatever, and have more of those big gems because they're putting, announcements in the state of plays, right? They're kind of melding what a state of play used to be. And so people come in it with unrealistic expectations. And I agree with
Agreed.
that. I mean, I don't, because I know what to expect, but a lot of people who are casuals or don't really like understand PlayStation's cadence, they come in with this crazy unrealistic list of what they expect to see out of a state of play. And I just laugh every time because I'm like, y'all do this every single time y'all see a state of play. Y'all have a list of like 30 games that y'all expect. Oh, it's going to be this. It's going to be this. We're going to see GTA 6. We're going to see, the next Resident Evil. We're going to see this, 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 and this, and this. And I'm just like, no, we're not. We're not seeing any of that. Um, but yeah, it was all right. I mean, like, there were some cool games that, you guys mentioned that were shown, but a lot of it was just like rehash and release dates. I mean, cool,
Or
fine, I
games that,
guess.
like you said, even if they look cool, you're not planning on playing them, so it don't really do nothing
Yeah,
for you.
it was cool. It was all right. Like, I give it a 4. I just want to showcase. I'm sick of state of plays, to be honest.
I'm
Um,
100% with you.
hopefully that we get one this summer. And I don't know, maybe I'm being extra because it's just like, we do have like 4 or 5 games that are announced from PlayStation's first party. Maybe
Yeah,
it would be different if all those games were put into one showcase, and that was the showcase. It's like, is it just the way that
Yeah,
they
when
were
you trickle it
announced?
out, there's only a little bit
Yeah,
here, a little bit there. Yeah.
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 I was like,
I
is
mean,
it
that is
is it
part of
is
the
it just
problem.
me being petty, and it's just because it's the way it's announced? Because it's not like there aren't games coming. Like, we know like of 4 or 5 that are coming from PlayStation first party, but is it just the way that it's, like Nelson said, trickled out,
I don't even think
that is
I wouldn't even
bothering
say
me?
it's just that, because it's like they're holding back some of the stuff that we know their cadence would have given us if they would have had a showcase. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's no way there's a showcase this summer and we don't see Wolverine. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
we've been waiting to see that forever. There's no way that the showcase shows up and we don't see a glimpse of what Corey Barlog is working on. There's no
Hmm.
way a showcase shows up and we don't, you know, get a glimpse further into Intergalactic. Like, it's because we know what they deliver at a showcase versus a state of play, and then like you said, it's like it's not as impactful when it's just
Yeah.
here's
It's
30
just that,
seconds, here's 30 seconds
yeah,
every
it's that
six
lingering
months.
feeling that PlayStation is just holding back.
Yeah,
That's just annoying. It's just like I feel like they have like I mean I obviously I don't know, I'm not behind the scenes. I can't sit here and say definitively that they have a trailer or a gameplay something ready. It just makes just the way that information is being let out, it just feels like that. But like I said, I can't say definitively. Like they could have nothing ready, like as far as a gameplay segment to show off, because I know a lot of people when it comes to gaming in this community are a little ignorant about that stuff. Like they think it's just so easy to put together like a trailer or a gameplay segment. Oh, it'll just take them 5 minutes. Like no, they have to.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot of time. They got to rehearse stuff. They got to use current builds, and by the time they get that build ready, they've already moved on to the next build. Like it takes a lot of work to put together a segment of gameplay. And people were like, "Well, it's only 5 minutes. How long should it take?" It takes a lot. So I'm not ignorant to the fact that it's just so simple. They could just push a button and put a trailer together. But I just miss that showcase that used to just leave me my jaw on the floor, and I'm just like, damn, bro, this is coming from PlayStation. I just miss that, and hopefully we get that this summer, and hopefully obviously it'll probably be most of the games that we already know that are coming, like you mentioned, like Intergalactic, Wolverine. Obviously, we're going to get a Ghost of Yotei breakdown, because that's coming out this year. I know Death Stranding, they're doing their own thing. I think they have a 30 or an hour preview of Death Stranding coming up like next month or something like that or this month.
Well, but like you're saying, you get those big reveals, the rest of them, and then what happens is the state of plays are used to trickle out maybe extended deep dive gameplays or other stuff later, and then then you can sprinkle. Like, but you can't sprinkle. You can't give me the seasoning if you haven't fed me yet. Give me my entree.
They don't want to do like the Deathloop route though, where they just fucking show the shit out of their game, and people are like, okay, I don't want to see this fucker no more. I don't want to see.
But we haven't seen it at all yet. So that's part of the problem though. Like we haven't seen Wolverine.
It's like we're getting like the state of play was always sprinkles.
You know what I mean?
And we're getting all sprinkles and no cake.
Yeah, like, exactly.
I can't just eat sprinkles, bro. Where the cake at? But yeah, I mean, like I said, like the state of play served its purpose. It showed some cool third party games. I'm not mad at it. It had some cool announcements in there and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of over state of plays in general. So I was just coming into it just like, a state of play, okay. Like I know people were expecting a lot, like, oh, I don't know, man, this could be it. I'm like, no, it won't be. I mean, we'll probably get a surprise announcement because that's what we usually do at the end of state of play. But that'll be the one big thing that we get out of it. But I don't know. I'm just ready for a showcase from PlayStation. They've been a little bit too quiet on the first party end. I don't know why they've switched to this new style of doing things. Like it's not like the old one was broken. They received a lot of praise and excitement for their showcases, but I guess just a lot of the
I'd like to see you in misery.
a lot of the live service kind of push or COVID, essentially, everybody's finally catching back up from the pandemic and everything, kind of pushed the schedule back a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can only hope that that they're finally in a time where everything is coming together and they can make some announcements and put some gameplay trailers together and get people hype. Like obviously I'm not expecting all these games to drop like 2025, like obviously not, but I just want to see what the next couple years have.
We want to see them in the light and the way that PlayStation has always shown their games. And I like Hero. I get Hero, and I would agree with Hero, right? And we all would, right? If we knew the showcase was coming, and that's the thing. I think because Hero was like, I like the tease, he's like, it's the
we keep expecting it, and then they just hop right over that shit.
Well, no, but that's what I was telling the problem. He goes, it's the foreplay before the showcase, and I'm like, yeah, but if you have foreplay and you never actually get to the rest of it, and then
Hero says that Wolverine was completely rebooted after the hack. I mean, they had actually announced that it wasn't rebooted, that everything was on track, and they weren't, because people were concerned. That was a main concern in the hack.
They said 2026 in the leak, so I mean, but still, it's more time. If it's coming out in fall 2026, we can still see a short gameplay trailer with you know what I mean, story synopsis.
Exactly.
Yeah, but because people had concerns about Wolverine after the hack, and they made an announcement after the hack that nothing is like there's the schedule for Wolverine is hasn't been affected. They're still on schedule, so I don't think it's been rebooted, but I'm sure they're still working on it, and they're still they might be adding some stuff or reworking some stuff, but a full reboot, no, they're not rebooting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully, I mean, but obviously, Wolverine isn't the only thing, I want to see. There's a lot of different games that, PlayStation's working on that I want to get an update on, but, I gotta wait. I mean, I'll wait. It's fine. It's not like I don't have plenty of games to play right now.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
We
just
do.
you just want to see what PlayStation's cooking.
But we aren't the people they got that they gotta entice to get one, right? Like it's
Yeah.
about these companies always talk about the great chase, right? They want the other people to move up. They want the new people to buy them, right? So it's like, what do you think nothing increases that, like showing me something I want to play that I can't get
Oh, yeah.
nowhere else.
Speaking of which, shout out to PlayStation. They reached a new milestone. What was it? 70 something?
75 million, which is our next
75
topic.
million.
Great
Yeah.
segue, Morgan. I appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. No problem.
But yeah, like Morgan said, yeah, PlayStation sales reports came out. They reached a new milestone of over 75 million consoles sold total, as well as over 95 million software sold in their last reported quarter. Sony president, CFO, COO, and SIE PlayStation chairman Hiroki Totoki went on to say more than 42% of users who purchased a PS5 during the quarter were new users. Like, that is massive. Like, I don't think people realize that. Like, 42% is crazy.
I think that's impressive, especially because, you hear it from non-PlayStation owners. Let them tell you the only people upgrading to the PS5 is people that own the PS4. That's
Yep.
why the
You hear
PS5
that
is
all
selling
the
the way it
time.
is. It's because of PS4. It's just people upgrading. I'm like, So we got now statistics to shut them up. The fact that it actually is not. I mean, I think that the reality is they know that a lot of people that was part of their fan base are now getting PS5s.
Yeah, they're
right?
like, fuck this shit, turned in their shit, because their shit is like, I thought it would be bad with the things they've been announcing, but I ain't never seen no shit like this since like shit making Wii U look like fucking wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
It's getting bad. It's getting to be like they're not gonna sell millions in a year. They're gonna sell hundreds of motherfucking thousands.
Yeah, eventually.
Like
yeah,
in a year, like fuck. That shit's crazy.
Oh, it's unfortunate. The hardware of other companies are kind of going down, but PlayStation's looking very positive. Which kind of speaks a lot, seeing as how
Which goddamn 10 years old, that motherfucker's still selling. That actually didn't drop off at all. It's an exclusive problem.
Yeah, it's kind of impressive when the fact that we were just complaining about, the lack of the first party communication. It still hasn't slowed down the cadence of new buyers to PlayStation. It's quite impressive that PlayStation's able to accumulate
thanks to that
this
strong start.
Yeah, I mean, they had an amazing start. And the fact that they'll be able to keep up the pace and sell up to 75 million consoles, and the fact that obviously GTA 6, which will be a big bringer for both PlayStation and Xbox, that the fact that we still don't have a definitive date for that, and when that comes, that's going to be another big way for PlayStation and Xbox to push consoles. I mean, I could see them selling like another 10 million off of just GTA 6. So it's just it's honestly impressive, and it's impressive, but it's also just like makes me think like, maybe this is why PlayStation doesn't feel the need to really say anything, because it's like they're not, and they're still selling incredibly well, so they can kind of. I'm not saying that they're going to get lazy.
They just
or
broke
anything,
all their
or
damn records.
Yeah, I mean,
Again.
they have opportunity to just kind of wait a little while longer, kind of sit on their laurels and just be like, we could make this announcement, but we can wait, a month or two. Like, it's not gonna,
We can wait till we get a dip, and then we can we can boost their numbers up.
Exactly. So, I'm happy that obviously I'm happy, people ask all the time, why do you care about sales? Because well, look what happens when you don't. Like,
Exactly.
you get less third-party support. People tend to prioritize developing on your console first. Like, PS5 is always prioritized a lot of the times before other consoles. So the PlayStation port 9 times out of 10 is usually like the best one. Third-party deals are more easily to secure. So time exclusive things like that are a lot. If a dev wants to do that kind of deal, they're more likely to do it with PlayStation. The bigger your audience, the more a smaller team that maybe doesn't have a big budget of a AAA who can maybe only afford to port to one system, the more likely you are to get it onto your system, right? There's so many positives to being the market leader, and it's not just about, you bragging, you just want to brag about more. Like, there's positives as a gamer that you gain from being a part of a brand that is a worldwide phenomenon. Essentially, like, you just get more benefits as a player, and we've seen that, right? You even have your competition putting their games on your platform now because they see it as a good revenue source for them, right? If PlayStation and Xbox are like probably pretty much the same, Xbox probably wouldn't have ported their games over. It's just like there's just a lot of benefits that come from having the dominant platform. So yeah, that's why I'm always happy to see PlayStation
Stays around too.
Exactly. And you don't have to worry about, oh man, is there going to be a PSX? There's people who like to pass around the foot that there is going to be no PSX. It doesn't make financial sense since they're making, unlike the competition, they're actually making money off their consoles, right? They're not losing money on a PS5 sale, right? They make money on PS5, and they're selling.
It's not like nobody was buying Oldsmobiles. There just wasn't enough for them to keep fucking making them.
Yeah, they're making money, and they're breaking records. So there's no reason as to see why like they would stop that gravy train for them. PlayStation is the hardware. That's their business model as of right now. That could always change, but as of right now, the console is their business model. And without the PlayStation, the console, there would be no PlayStation. They don't have an ecosystem set up the same way that Xbox does for Game Pass, right? They're selling an ecosystem. PlayStation doesn't have that, right? They don't have like a PS Plus that goes everywhere on PC, mobile, and the cloud and everything like that, right?
Exactly.
Their bread and butter is their hardware, so it would make no sense for them to just get rid of it, because then at that point, what are they doing? So yeah, PlayStation is going on strong. I don't see it going anywhere. Pro's doing well, Portal's doing well.
Portal's exceeding. Yeah.
Portal's exceeding. The only hardware that they have right now that's lacking.
I outsold the goddamn Xboxes last year.
Yeah, the only thing the hardware they're lacking right now is with the VR, and I don't understand PlayStation's lack of support when it comes to the VR. Like, if you brought it out for a second time, right? It's obviously because you believed in it essentially, but then your lack of actual first party support, like the last one was what it launched with, right? With the Mountain, what was it called? The Mountain. Yeah. And it's just like, that's been it from PlayStation first party as far as I know when it comes to VR. So it's just like, I guess now I guess they've realized that, and so that's why they've opened up the it to PC, so you can hook it up to your PC and play, I guess PC VR games or whatever.
You can.
But yeah, and that with its crazy astronomical price, that they finally cut, it was just not looking good. I don't know if they're gonna do a 3 at this rate.
Well, I think to help clarify, I think there's actually some other stuff going on with VR, which I think isn't helping. And as successful as a lot of people were claiming, MetaQuest 3 was and stuff like that, a lot of the people who made a lot of those phenomenal games, like the Batman game that Meta had, and
the heard that was good.
Yeah, that RPG one, the Wrath or whatever it was called. that was
Mhm.
also exclusive to MetaQuest 3. Pretty much, there's like a mass exodus of the top talent from those places leaving, like in droves, apparently, like after they've
Mm.
made those games. So it's like, and Meta on top of that is laying people off. So it's like it doesn't seem to be holding
Mhm.
the even for MetaQuest and a couple other things. So like a lot of people are just dropping out of those places like crazy. So it's like I mean I personally have an idea of what it is, because as much as I think VR is a cool idea, and when it works really well, like I was saying, like the Batman game and the RPG they made, uh, it's extremely fatiguing to play
Yeah.
VR.
Yeah.
So even if you're
You know who
really
plays it? My
enthralled,
kids.
it's
I'm on
rough.
my feet all damn week, and I'm tired as shit. And I don't get to sit down much. But you know who plays it? Wants to play it every damn day? Kids. You know why? Fucking ain't fucking running out of energy.
Well, yeah,
That's
I
what.
mean, they ain't got nothing else to do though. Like, I mean, my youngest nephew is the only one that still plays it. Like, he's hankering to play it all the time. But I mean, he's also hankering to go outside and ride his scooter and jump off the trampoline and do. You see what I'm saying? So it's like he wants to do 15 other things, and but he's
Man,
not
I
the
get a
one
couple
supporting
hours a week to sit down on my ass. I want to sit down on my ass.
it. Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's a big reason why it's coming up. Like they're being kind of cautious about it and what to do with it, and I think they're just kind of shoring up some of it with some of the third party stuff. Like we saw one of I think the scary game that Omar mentioned about claymation or whatever. I think that was VR as well, or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's PS5 and VR.
Unique
Yeah,
as heck. You could do it in VR or
Which
just
I'm
play regular, which
thankful
is
for.
perfect.
yeah. So I
Which I'm
think you're
thankful for
yeah
that they're doing it both ways.
yeah. I
This
know
way
you
that
mentioned
people
that.
that don't have a VR like me still can play the game.
Yeah, and I think you'll see more so hybrids like that now because it doesn't lock the game down that way. Same thing with Civilization 7 that just launches getting a VR version very soon,
That's cool.
and
Yeah, I've
provided
never been interested in those.
yeah, provided they can actually, I don't know what it's going to take to run it because Civilization can be pretty taxing with all the calculations. But I'm sure if they could get it to run on PlayStation, it'll definitely get the VR port. And it looks really cool. It's like looking down on like a board in a room, and you're just playing it like you're playing it, but like in full 3D. Like it looks insane. So again, that like I think you'll see more so crossovers like that, where games that could work with both, and you'll still get the occasional exclusive stuff. But yeah, like I said, a lot of the talent is just leaving that sector. So I think that's where you're gonna see this drought for a while, as far as like exclusively VR games. But yeah,
Can you
sorry, I didn't mean to
imagine?
derail you like that.
No, you're
Can
good.
you imagine playing like a not full game of God of Yote, but like I mean not a section of it in VR.
Yeah, but the cost of doing this stuff to the how many players there are, just the money doesn't equal out.
Yeah, I mean, if they got a good idea for something like that, then yeah, I mean, I could see the possibility. But yeah, like you said,
But actually,
it's a
they
lot.
literally went out of their way and created a second VR. So focus on it. Otherwise, why did you create it in the first place? Like the first VR, we already know flopped. Are you gonna literally repeat history with this one?
I mean, I think at the time they thought VR was going to take off, and at the time VR was really popping. With the Meta was doing crazy numbers, and PlayStation just wanted a piece of that. And they do still have some exclusive offerings that they only have, but the reality is like VR. Like I said, VR is very cool, but also VR is very limiting, and then it's really taxing to even design for. There's a lot of custom things that you have to do in VR. Uh, that you wouldn't have to do in like a game that you're playing on a screen. So it's tough. It's a tough field, and you need specialized developers who are capable of designing specifically for VR. And it's just I've watched a couple of VR devs talk about how they design stuff and the design process, and it's rough. When it comes out great and it's amazing. I forgot what the one was, like a mouse trap or something like that was really popular, or like you play as a mouse or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I know what
one.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I watched one of the artists or something
That
talk
one I
about that.
wanted to play, but it's on VR, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but yeah,
swallow, sir.
it was praised like crazy. Um, and I
I'm talking
watched
about
like I think it was
oh
Moss.
Moss, that
Yeah,
Moss, yeah.
yeah, and they but like watching him make it though, and then explain why it was so tough to design, like you realize like how much more work it takes to design like a Moss level versus like a regular level, like because of all the 3D asset, like completely 3D assets, like that everything has to be modeled and everything has to be like it was insane. So I get why it's not as widely supported as it would be, especially in the current state. But yeah, I think it was a smart move for PlayStation, like you said, to come out with the adapter for PC as well, because
Yeah.
I have a great PC, but I don't have a VR headset specific for PC because I didn't, they're too expensive and I didn't think they were worth it. Um, and that gives me access to all those VR games on Steam now. So yeah,
Yep.
but
Hey, the Otter
yeah.
game.
You said
It
what?
is okay.
Oh,
Game
okay.
takes
You
me
were
so
looking.
long is I can never find shit what I'm looking for. Hours and hours and hours.
Switch
Like,
only?
been looking for
Damn.
Nathaniel for an hour.
Oh well.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like I said, yeah, PlayStation obviously out there doing a lot, but like I said, they could do more. They could get more. They're 1.6 million behind the PS4 as far as sales, like regardless of breaking numbers. Like I said, I think a proper showcase and lined up with the release of GTA and everything else, I think they could soar past 100 million this year. And I think that's what I mean. What kind of company doesn't want that kind of success?
Just so you know, Omar, that game's also on PlayStation and Steam. It's on
Oh,
everything.
better. Thank you.
Yep.
Omar over here freaking out. Oh my god, that game looks great.
No, I was literally about looking googling it to see if or not.
Yeah, I know. Um, but yeah, like I said, the success of PlayStation and everything is looking really good right now. Weeb, anything you wanted to add to that one?
No, I'm good.
Cool, appreciate you. And Omar,
Yeah, I don't have an VR. It
not the VR. This is about PlayStation selling 75 million
oh
and
yeah, no,
42% new users.
yeah, it's that like that a bittersweet moment, isn't it? Like you're seeing the company that you're invested in, and this is not console war. This is just strictly investment. The company you're invested in is selling so well, yet at the same time, it's selling so well despite having no competition.
Yeah,
And that's what it boils down to. I truly wish there was an ability to kind of like create a survey. I know it would be a low blow, but still, create a survey to ask people where did you come from. For the people that are new to the PlayStation ecosystem, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be Xbox players because they don't need an Xbox to play their game no more.
yeah,
And yet at the same time, I'm genuinely questioning myself. Would PlayStation be acting different? Like, would the last state of play have been differently if Xbox had a showcase themselves, but also were on par with PlayStation when it comes to sales number? Like, let's keep it a buck. Xbox showcase was great. I had a blast. Yeah, 4 games, but they went in depth. Like, for example, South of Midnight. Uh, Most anticipated title for me so far early. Um, it's if we knew South of Midnight is gonna sell like 3 million in one day and also bring console sales to Xbox, would we have seen a reveal trailer for example, gameplay for like Yote or maybe Death Stranding 2? or maybe even Wolverine. So do you think? So it feels like PlayStation are resting on the laurels because they don't have competition. So this is why you see them trickling in like a Soros or an intergalactic. So yeah, again bittersweet. 75 million. I'm curious if they're gonna reach 100 this year. Cause we know GTA 6 is gonna do bunkers. But that's about it for me. Look up to stuff like that. And not gonna lie, Morgan said it best. We gotta care about console sales, but at the same time, I really don't care if that makes sense. Like, I'm happy for them, but I'm like PlayStation. Where are my games? Basically.
Yeah, I mean, but you want the sales for other stuff. Like I said, she pointed out a lot of the benefits for that and
Oh yeah, yeah,
why
yeah,
it matters.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Like yeah,
but
no,
you
let
want both to happen. You want them to be getting it for a reason, not just because
absolutely.
the other person. You want to do it because they're doing their best, not because the other team sucks.
Yeah, they're doing amazing, but they have earned it, but only because the other company just gave up.
Yep. But yeah, with that, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. We're approaching the 3 hour mark, so we're gonna go ahead and slide out. I did want to give a shout out to we did mention it earlier while we were in conversation, but a shout out to Team Asobi for securing that W at the Dice Awards.
Oh yeah,
As they should.
Yeah, because
remember
a lot of people were
Dice
talking
Awards.
trash about that and saying
Yeah,
how they
Dice
wouldn't get
Awards
it.
matters, right?
Yeah, like you're talking
Game
about
Awards
getting it
don't
from your
matter.
peers, and people swore up and down that Indiana Jones was going to sweep, and a bunch of other nonsense people were saying. But hey, look, they still took home the W at the end of the day. So shout out to them, and keep it going. I can't wait to see what they do next. But with that, like I said, we're gonna uh, head up out of here. Again, everybody, thank you for coming through. Um, we're gonna just go ahead and get into the outros, and then we're gonna head up out of here. Um, Weeb, where can the people find you?
Yeah, great show. You can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome, and the same for Blue Sky. And yeah, Other Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Morgan, where can the people find you?
Um, Twitter. But honestly, these past couple weeks, I'm just gonna be posting about KCD2. So if you're tired of hearing me talk about it, you might want to mute me on Twitter. Um,
That's real facts.
yeah. Yeah. But great show, great topics. I always love hashing it out with you guys. Shout out to everybody for coming through. And yeah, we'll definitely see you guys next week. With hopefully some great gaming news. So, Otter
Yeah.
Nation.
Otter Nation.
Other Nation.
Nelson, where can the people find you, sir?
Nelson Gaming 12 on Twitter and PlayStation, and then Nelson Gaming Culture on YouTube.
No doubt. And last
And
but
Will
not least,
777 JP for Sundays. We have a show on his channel Sunday nights,
cool.
which is perfect because I get home from work and then do that, and then I got to get ready for work the next day. Yay!
Sounds like a plan, man. And then Karaba, where can the people find you, sir?
So shout out to everyone that came through. Hit that like button, check the stream out. You can find me in Caravan_Job on Twitter and Vitamin G podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you next week
Cool.
and play your games.
Play your games. And then again, I'm your host, Nate. You can find me on Twitter or Blue Sky at the real Nate, or as I normally say, you can find me gaming because that's the plan, and that is always
That's
the plan.
always.
And that is what we should be doing out here as gamers. And I hope that's what y'all are doing, or you're getting the time to do that. But yeah, otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get up out of here. Shout out to Kay, who picked up her new puppy, her new
Oh, she
Rhodesian
got it.
Ridgeback.
Oh.
Did you
Yeah.
name it?
No, she hasn't named it yet, but I'm assuming Aloy is a strong contender.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yeah, other than that, Otter Nation, we're up out of here.
All the nation.
Otter Nation. Bye.
Donation